Regarding Lin Yan in New World, Magellan naturally has some knowledge. Only, he didn't expect that the newly promoted captain of the Whitebeard Pirates actually appears in his own Impel Down, appear in this underwater prison. Enough is enough. Magellan stepped forward, approaching with a cold and stern aura. Raise your hand. Magellan pointed at Lin Yan in the distance. Give me a reason, captain of the Whitebeard Pirates, why did you come to my Impel Down? Why are you here? Thinking of the war that broke out at Marineford, as the warden, I guess you don't know my purpose. Lin Yan didn't hide it either. Could it be that you want to? Magellan's pupils tightened. Although he had guessed a lot, he still couldn't contain his shock when he learned about the situation from Lin Yan. The captain of the Whitebeard Pirates, he wants to take these prisoners. Take it to Marineford. Why do you think you can take them away? Magellan was secretly angry, and he would never allow such a thing to happen to him. Then why do you think I can't take them away? Lin Yan asked rhetorically, without further ado. Magellan made a move with one hand, and behind him, thousands of venom quickly gathered together, and then the thick venom gathered into a long dragon. Poison dragon. 10 giant dragons formed from venom appeared behind Magellan. There was a terrifying and decaying aura on it, and bursts of green gas emerged. This is Magellan's venom that has been condensed over many years. Once touched, in mild cases, it will corrode into disease. In severe cases, even bone residue may not be left behind. Roar. The 10 poisonous dragons roared. They opened their fangs and attacked Lin Yan from all directions. Face these 10 poisonous dragons. Lin Yan is happy and not afraid. Thunderfruit is released in his hands. A series of thunder and lightning were on his left and right. Sizzle, sizzle. Immediately afterwards, the group of thunder and lightning suddenly branched into thousands, and went straight towards the 10 poisonous dragons in front of them. One side is a poisonous dragon. On one side is forked lightning. Boom. The scene was suddenly filled with smoke, venom, and thunder and lightning. Watching Lin Yan disintegrate his poisonous dragon so easily, Magellan frowned slightly. The strength of the white squad leader in front of him. The strength of the squad leader in front of him was a bit beyond his expectations. But who is he? Impel Down the warden. If this group of prisoners were allowed to leave Impel Down, he has a responsibility that he cannot shirk. What's more, besides Lin Yan, behind him were Jinbei, and Crocodile, and Supernova, and all the prisoners. The enemy is facing us, there is no room for error. Think of this. Magellan exploded, he held back no more. He spared no effort and released his poisonous fruit towards Lin Yan. Long dragons emerged one after another, wrapped in extremely powerful venom. They overwhelmingly pressed towards Lin Yan. Lin Yan shook his head, it's useless. Lightning shot out. The venom was all destroyed one after another by Lin Yan's terrifying current. Then try this. Judgment from hell. Magellan slapped the ground with one hand, and then the venom condensed into 10 huge venom soldiers. The venom soldiers suddenly flew towards Lin Yan. At this time, judgment breaks out, when the venom soldier was less than a few meters away from Lin Yan. Explosion. To know. This is Magellan's venom. Anyone who touches it will die. Even if Roger Golden Lion's group comes, they may not be able to withstand Magellan's venom. Not to mention, explosive power at such close range. Damn it, it's such a trick. Not far away, Jinbei frowned when he saw this scene. Venom soldier explodes. Not to mention whether it will work or not. Do not forget, there are many other prisoners around Lin Yan. In other words, even if Lin Yan teleports away, the prisoners will suffer. HMPH, what morals can they Marine have to talk about with pirates like us? Crocodile looked on with open eyes. Watch the venom soldier explode. Lin Yan naturally saw Magellan's little thoughts. Thundernet. A dense network of lightning appeared in front of Lin Yan's eyes, just before the 10 soldiers exploded. The thundernet covered the venom soldier. Boom. Venom soldier explodes. However, the overflowing venom was suppressed by the thundernet, and the overflowing venom was very little. Let's fight quickly. Lin Yan does not plan to stay here any longer. As you wish. Magellan was naturally unwilling. The battle between the two, it has reached a white-hot stage. Magellan is very strong though. With the blessing of the poison fruit, his strength doubled. But after all, it is not as good as Lin Yan. All venom. Almost all of them were broken by his lightning that reached the ultimate level. At the same time, because there is a big gap between the two sides. Soon, Magellan fell into a disadvantage and was suppressed by Lin Yan. Hateful. Magellan grimaced and gritted his teeth. The pressure Lin Yan brought to him, it's too big. No matter how he used his trump card, it was all in vain. In the eyes of the prisoners, Magellan is like a natural enemy. It belongs to the kind of bloodline suppression. Seeing Magellan is like a mouse seeing a cat, wanting to hide away. Now, after seeing that Magellan, whom they were very afraid of, was suppressed into this state by Lin Yan, the prisoners couldn't help but stare in shock. He threw it in the direction of Lin Yan. This guy. He's not even a match for Magellan. Damn it. This is too awesome. However, what shocked them even more was what came next. With Magellan falling into a disadvantage, Lin Yan took advantage of the victory to pursue. He won't give Magellan any chance to counterattack. With his final blow, the invincible Magellan collapsed. Watch Magellan to the end. The whole place was in an uproar again. Actually killed Magellan? No wonder he dared to take us out of the underwater prison. This man is really too strong. I wish I were half as strong as him. After Magellan fell, the prisoners couldn't help but clench their fists. Everyone knows, there is hope for his own escape. If they were convinced by Lin Yan before, it was only because the opponent was decisive in killing and willing to take them away from Impel down. So now, after realizing that Lin Yan is powerful, they no longer have any evil intentions. On the contrary, there was even more admiration in their eyes. Joke. A man who can impel down Warden Magellan. Can they not admire it? Magellan fell though. But he is still dying. His mouth was bleeding. I will never allow you to take these prisoners to Marineford. While talking, Poison Cloud, Magellan used his last bit of strength. Release the poisonous cloud. The poisonous cloud was like locusts passing through the border, spreading darkly towards the prisoners. These poisonous clouds may not be as venomous as the previous ones, but it also has a fatal impact on these prisoners. Once infected, although the prisoners will not die, they will be paralyzed and lose their combat effectiveness in a short while. Plus, this place is in the midst of Impel Down. The space is tight and there is nowhere to hide. Even if Lao Sha blows the salon roll, the final result will only accelerate the spread of the poisonous cloud in this narrow third layer. What? Watching the poisonous cloud sweep over, the prisoners suddenly became frightened and stepped back one after another. But just as Magellan thought, the third floor is just a little bigger. Where can they hide? Even Jinbei and Crocodile made preparations immediately. Jinbei showed off his urine karate. Windy sand emerges from Crocodile's hand. Lin Yan put his hands in his pockets. He just glanced at Magellan lightly, and then said calmly, "We will fight hard." If used against others, his move would indeed be miraculous. Can be placed here. Lin Yan. His evaluation is not worth mentioning. Mangekyo Sharingan is on. Kamui, seeing that the poisonous cloud was about to cover the prisoners. A burst of Uzumaki blocked in front of the poisonous gas. Immediately afterwards, this huge poisonous cloud was inhaled by Kamui in the blink of an eye. Not a drop is left. What? Seeing this scene, even Magellan, the warden who had served for many years, couldn't help but be stunned. Watching Uzumaki suck away his poisonous cloud, everyone was a little shocked. In this closed Impel Down, his poison cloud is almost a magical skill. Now, the poisonous cloud was absorbed by Lin Yan in the blink of an eye. Looking at the white regiment captain in front of him, Magellan was confused. His ability, isn't it Thunder Fruit? He didn't know who the Uzumaki was just now, but the only thing he was sure of was definitely not the ability that Thunder Fruit gave him. Why? Why is there such a result? That Uzumaki. What is it? Same. The keen Jinbei and Crocodile also looked sideways at Lin Yan. The two of them saw Uzumaki just now, but the two cleverly didn't ask any more questions. Magellan no longer had the strength to resist. Once he fell, the remaining 5,000 or 6,000 marine soldiers were numerous. But in front of Jinbei and Crocodile, but it's not enough to watch at all. At this moment, a group of supernovas led by Luffy began to explode. Relying on his excellent strength, he pushed forward unstoppably. No one in the huge underwater prison is their opponent. The 5th floor, the 4th floor, all the way to the 1st floor. All prisoners have been liberated. Take prisoners. Forced to seize 3 warships from Marine, the prisoners boarded the ship. Since then, everyone escaped on the warship. Lin Yan ordered the manpower. There were 20,000 prisoners this time. Knowing this amount, Lin Yan nodded. 20,000 people, a bit beyond expectations. Once this group of people is put into the Summit War, the pressure on their Whitebeard pirates will be drastically reduced. Lin Yan really wants to see it, when watching so many prisoners suddenly join the war. As Marine Marshal Sengoku, what kind of expression does he have? Besides, He was also slightly regretful that he didn't meet Blackbeard's group in Impel down. Target, Marineford. 3 warships set off, within their sight. Impel down. Going away slowly. On the occasion of Lin Yan's liberation of Impel down. Marineford sighed. Gaff but not optimistic. On the side of the Whitebeard pirates, Marco, Josie, Bista and others were struggling to lead people towards the execution platform and preparing for Ace. Marine's side was no less generous. First, several giants, Vice Admiral, challenged Whitebeard, and then Aokiji, Hawkeye, Kizaru and even Akainu besieged Whitebeard himself. Whitebeard is also worthy of his title as the strongest man in the world. Even if they are under siege, Shock Fruit opens and closes. Not only did he not suffer much damage, but he forced all challengers to retreat one after another. It's so strong. As a marine hero, Garp the Fist rubbed his fists. Seeing so many people unable to attack Whitebeard for a long time, he felt a surge of blood ignited in his heart. Talk about it. I don't know how many years it has been since I had a good confrontation with this old rival. It's Whitebeard after all. Although Sengoku has repeatedly emphasized strategically that the Whitebeard pirates are nothing special. But tactically, he regarded Whitebeard as a formidable enemy from beginning to end. Just the title of the world's strongest man. Take a look at the entire sea. Let alone the successor. No replacement could be found. But, although Whitebeard relied on his powerful strength to force the enemy back many times, Shock Fruit reveals Kamui. It daunts countless marines. But in fact, a long fight, his breathing also began to become disordered. After all, age is here, and the sun is setting. In addition, Aokiji, Kizaru, and Akainu were not the peak of their own strength. It was a round of battle. Sweat broke out on Whitebeard's forehead, and he began to feel convinced that he was really old. However, that's not even the most important thing. The most important is, just when Whitebeard was about to take a breather. A knife. Puff. Suddenly it penetrated his body. Whitebeard and Sengoku can be said to be the 2 backbones between marine and pirates. Any trouble with them, it can instantly attract the attention of everyone present. When he saw a knife stabbing into Whitebeard's body, Dad. Marco, who was leading the white group into the battle, turned his head, and then his pupils contracted. Dad. No. Chowzi's expression also changed. How could this happen? Schoolyard. Bista is currently fighting against Mihawk, and the 2 were competing in swordsmanship. When he saw Whitebeard stabbed with a knife, he was a little confused. Not just the 3 squad captains. The other members of the Whitebeard pirates were shocked. Especially seeing the mastermind behind the scenes. It was when one of their crew members, the great vortex spider Schoolyard. Many people had boundless anger in their eyes. Dad. Scarred. What are you doing? Dad is injured, go back and rescue him quickly. Dad, we are here. The crew of the Whitebeard pirates no longer cared about the enemy in front of them, and they all rushed towards Whitebeard, the Moby Dick of the Whitebeard pirates, to return reinforcements. Whitebeard is injured. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, let's fight back. Kick these pirates out of Marineford, kill. Compared to the Whitebeard pirates, because Whitebeard was stabbed, their morale was low and they had no intention of fighting anymore. Everyone on Marine's side was overjoyed. They realized this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Everyone's morale was high, and they moved forward bravely, pushing back towards the Whitebeard pirates. Who arranged this? When Sengoku saw this scene, the great vortex spider Schoolyard suddenly rebelled. He naturally knew that this was the work of their marine side. But who exactly? He didn't know. Directly below the execution platform. After Akainu witnessed this scene, a cruel smile appeared on his lips. Marco's opponent is Kizaru in front of him. Whitebeard was suddenly injured. He wanted to get back on defense. Oh hey, Captain Marco, you can't leave. How could Kizaru let Marco go back so calmly? Sparkling fruit is released on a large scale, blocking Marco's return path. Although he was kicked into the ruins by Marco for paddling at the beginning. But it is Admiral after all. This can't hurt Kizaru. The other side. Joes also wanted to get back on defense. But because he was so anxious, he fell into Doflamingo's trap. Several threads fell from the sky. Suddenly it was bound to Josie's body. Doflamingo walked out with a step of disowning his relatives. Hey, Captain Joz, don't even think about returning to defense. By the way, let me see how strong you are, the strongest shield of the Whitebeard pirates. Josie frowned and gritted his teeth. He suddenly found that his body was out of control. A few punches thrown. On the contrary, many surrounding soldiers of the Whitebeard pirates were blown away. Third captain? The other pirates didn't realize it. Get out of the way, Josie yelled at them. Bista's opponent is the Mihawk. Whitebeard was suddenly injured, and he had no intention of continuing to compete with Mihawk. He immediately turned around and ran back to the Moby Dick. Mihawk didn't stop either. He just silently put his black sword back into its scabbard. Moby Dick comes over here. Countless people are eyeing the great vortex spider Schoolyard. Scared. Do you know what you are doing? Why did you attack Dad? I want to kill you as soon as I step on the horse. Some members of the white group shouted with suppressed anger. Faced with a lot of questions, Scarred also insisted on his opinion. Can't you still see it? Whitebeard wants to lead our pirate group to destruction. If we don't participate in this war, our Whitebeard pirates will still not be destroyed. We will still be the 4 emperors of the New World. Towards destruction. Hearing this sentence, everyone couldn't help but have a look of confusion on their faces. Immediately afterwards, Schoolyard also clarified the scene of his exchange with Akainu. And pointed at Whitebeard. It shows that he is the culprit behind the scenes. He is the culprit of this battle. I heard that this was all Akainu's secret plan. Whitebeard, who was originally injured, suddenly burst into laughter. Regarding the sudden rebellion of the great vortex spider Schoolyard, I would say the most unacceptable thing, none other than Whitebeard. Blackbeard teaches rebellion a while ago made his idea of starting a family disappear. Now Schoolyard followed suit. Whitebeard even began to feel confident about himself as the head of the family. Is it that bad? Now Whitebeard learns that this is because of Akainu's instigation. The big stone in his heart also fell. At the same time, he began to whisper and enlighten towards Scarred. You are right, as long as this war does not start, our Whitebeard pirates will definitely not be destroyed. Scarred. I also know that you were thinking about the Whitebeard pirates, and that's why you were blinded by Akainu. But you have to understand that a war is imminent, and demagoguery is Marine's specialty. Why would you rather believe Marine than Dad? If we don't land at Marineford, can you really bear to watch Ace die alone in Marineford without doing anything? Next. Under the guidance of Whitebeard, Schoolyard also woke up with a start. He realized that he had really done something wrong. Looking at the bleeding old man Whitebeard, what on earth am I doing? Schoolyard was like the prisoner in Conan yelling, it was all his fault that I killed him, and then Conan, glasses reflected, said, no, you are wrong, he did it because. After the explanation of the reasons was completed, the prisoner who learned the truth suddenly became unsteady on his feet and spun around. He knelt on the ground with a thud, cried, knelt down and repented 3 times. Schoolyard knelt on the ground and trembled, crying and shouting, Dad, I'm sorry. No matter what you did wrong, you will always be my children. Whitebeard also held Scarred in his arms as if relieved from a glass of wine, and he said with a gentle voice. As Scarred took the initiative to admit his mistake, Whitebeard drank a glass of wine to let go. The chaos on the Moby Dick was swept away. Goo la 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 la. If you want to break up our Whitebeard pirates in this way, you Marines are too naive. Whitebeard pulled Scarred's long knife out of his abdomen, and at the same time, his sharp eyes swept over the bodies of Akainu, Kizaru, Aokiji, Sengoku, Garp and others, and he said coldly. The person who stirred up tension within the Whitebeard pirates. This is the reverse scale that touches Whitebeard. Faced with Marine's behavior, what Whitebeard can do is use his strongest strength to make these Marines open their eyes and take a good look. What is the first of the 4 emperors of New World? A white light appeared in Whitebeard's hand. Shock fruit breaks out again. Whitebeard punched out. The air cracked and the cracks spread. The glacier in front of me suddenly collapsed, and the seawater rushed towards the naval headquarters. This is not over yet. Whitebeard threw a second punch. Boom. Marineford was directly hit by Whitebeard's shock fruit, and a violent earthquake enveloped it, making everyone unsteady. The entire island was almost destroyed by Whitebeard's second punch. Whitebeard threw his third punch. The destructive power burst out violently. This time, the shock wave hit the naval headquarters building. Once hit, this iconic building of their marine will cease to exist starting today. Currently among the 3 admirals, the only one who could pull away was Akainu. Akainu also gritted his teeth. Armament hockey covers the arms. Stand in front of their naval headquarters building and shoulder Whitebeard's shock fruit shockwave with your bare hands. 3 punches down. Every punch carried an aura of destruction, and the power that was enough to destroy Marineford exploded. This is the rage from Whitebeard. This is the result of trying to break up the unity of the Whitebeard pirates. Feel the burst of strength from Whitebeard. The Marines are in turmoil. 3 punches nearly wiped out Marineford. What a strength this is. They have the momentum of 100,000 people. He was suppressed by Whitebeard alone, of course. Whitebeard was already in poor condition before, and was injured by Scarred's long knife, plus the 3 punches that broke out in anger. Whitebeard's little physical strength is almost exhausted. But the effect in exchange is doubled. Marine morale is low. The clarion call for their Whitebeard pirates' counterattack has sounded again. Kill. The captains of the affiliated pirate group headed by Skuyard drew their swords and joined the mighty battle. The battle resumed, and this time, Akainu set off below the execution platform. Naturally, he saw Whitebeard, who was now low on physical strength. Whitebeard, have you reached your limit? That being the case, then let me end your life. Akainu stood up and attacked Whitebeard. Sakazuki, go to hell. Just as Akainu was about to attack Whitebeard, a voice suddenly came to his ears. Skuyard had already arrived in front of him. He raised his long sword and without saying a word, slashed at Sakazuki with the force of splitting Huashan Mountain. The deceived bug is furious, Sakazuki scoffed. Lava instantly covered his arm. Punch out. Boom. Swords and fists met. Skuyard is certainly very strong, but how can he be a match against Sakazuki? Just less than one round. Skard was sent flying by Sakazuki's punch. The body is covered with lava. Skuyard let out a miserable cry. After dealing with Skuyard, Sakazuki didn't linger. He touched the ground with one step, and his whole body instantly became airborne. The next second, he landed in front of Whitebeard. We have reached the end of our rope and are still struggling to death. Watch me send you to hell. Sakazuki's eyes were filled with cold blood, and the magma on his arms bloomed to the limit. Drop by drop of magma fell to the ground, making a sizzling sound. Gu la la la, another kid has grown up and thinks he can challenge me? Whitebeard's veins popped out. The arm with white light punched out. Sakazuki also faced him head-on. Boom. Sakazuki and Whitebeard exchanged punches. The aftermath shook out. There were cracks in the glaciers under my feet. Before I fall, you can't even think about getting involved with my son. Whitebeard said with a calm voice. Since you insist on seeking death, then I will help you. Akainu immediately exploded with all his strength. His whole body was covered in magma. During the confrontation between Akainu and Sakazuki, Sengoku's side of the execution platform, he issued an order, send in the pacifists. Sengoku's order. Marine's first trump card, the human weapon pacifist, was brought to Marineford's stage. Hundreds of pacifists appeared in everyone's sight. The pacifist raised his hand or opened his mouth. They all launched laser light waves towards the Whitebeard pirates. Boo. In the stormy summit war, the role of the pacifist's human weapon is maximized. Under their laser light waves, the Whitebeard pirates are almost unstoppable here. Although the pacifists are very weak, they are on par with those supernovas. But it's undeniable. Just talk about their firepower and their lethality. Even better than many Marine vice admirals, and most importantly, this is the strafing of 100 pacifists, as soon as they enter. Like a tiger entering a flock of sheep, it is unstoppable. The Whitebeard pirates' previous advantage suddenly turned into a disadvantage. Whitebeard, who was fighting Akainu, also noticed the changes on the battlefield. He frowned. Pacifists are a very difficult point to deal with. In particular, their lethality is simply too great. The Whitebeard pirates must eliminate all these pacifists in the shortest possible time. However, who is Sakazuki? Among the 3 Marine admirals, he is known as the strongest. There is a flaw. It was because of Whitebeard's distraction. Give him a chance. The previous Whitebeard was almost exhausted. It was difficult to deal with Akainu in his prime, let alone Whitebeard who still cares about the other members. Boom. Whitebeard received a solid punch from Sakazuki. He was knocked back. This blow even triggered Whitebeard's old illness. A squirt of blood spurted from his mouth. Whitebeard's face suddenly turned ugly. Not only that, Aokiji on the side also landed in front of Whitebeard. Sakazuki in front and Admiral Kuzan in back, one after the other. Whitebeard was immediately in a dilemma, although Kuzan and Sakazuki don't like to bully the minority. But who was the enemy in front of you? That was Whitebeard, the leader of the New World 4 Emperors, and now they are participating in this summit war. In the midst of war, what fairness and dignity is there? The most important thing is to use the fastest speed to eliminate the strongest people on the other side, reduce casualties, and win this war as soon as possible. Great eruption. Freeze. Sakazuki and Kuzan took action almost at the same time. They launched a siege against Whitebeard. These are 2 Marine admirals taking action at the same time. Whitebeard had been exhausted before, and then received a punch from Sakazuki, triggering the old illness. Now, 2 admirals have taken action. He has long since sunk and does not have peak strength. Under the joint attack of the 2 admirals, it is inevitably a bit difficult to cope with it. Marco, Josie, Bista, Izang and others also saw Whitebeard's current situation. They have a heart to help Whitebeard, but other people in Marine are not vegetarians either. Marco is troubled by Kizaru. The other squad captains are entangled with Shichibukai and Marine Vice Admiral. Among this batch of Vice Admiral, it is inevitable that there will be many strong substitutes of the Admiral level, and even the previous Admirals and others who have long since resigned. The squad captains have no time to spare and have no time to take care of Whitebeard. After Whitebeard forced Kuzan back with a punch, he received a blow from Sakazuki in the back. After forcing Sakazuki back, he was injured by Kuzan again. Sakazuki is responsible for the main attack, while Kuzan is on the sidelines. Admiral's strength is already on par with 4 emperors. On strength, Aokiji and Sakazuki are not much worse than Whitebeard. One fades and the other grows. Over time, Whitebeard kept bleeding. They were in constant embarrassment and retreated steadily. Seeing that Whitebeard was about to reach his end, the madness in Sakazuki's eyes became more and more intense. Today, he is bound to kill the so-called leader of the era in front of him. Let the whole world take a good look. Go against them, Marine. What an end. Meteor Volcano. Sakazuki, who has been climbing steadily, once again launched a full blow. After all, Whitebeard was still under siege by the 2 admirals. Defeated, Sakazuki directly grabbed a meteorite and rained fire on Whitebeard. Boom. Smoke and dust are everywhere. In the smoke that fills the sky. Whitebeard was knocked out and hit the Moby Dick behind him. Blood spurted out of his mouth again. The ice beneath your feet is dyed red. Daddy. Joes watched as Whitebeard was severely beaten, and he no longer cared about the thin string Doflamingo tied to his body. Forced to break free. Leap back in the direction of Whitebeard. You actually broke out of my control. Doflamingo's eyes showed surprise. He seized this opportunity and used String Fruit's cutting ability to poke several holes in Josie's body. However, Josie is a human shield. The method of holding on to Doflamingo. Completely ignoring his injuries, he prepared to help his father fend off the 2 admirals, Sakazuki and Kuzan. This scene, it really surprised Doflamingo. Doflamingo narrowed his eyes with admiration in his eyes. What a Whitebeard pirate group. Pity. Not waiting for Josie to return, Kizaru took action. A radium ray locked on Josie like an explosion, and with a hiss, the laser ray penetrated Josie's body. As one of the 3 admirals, Kizaru's laser rays are not so easy to resist. Although Josie withstood Doflamingo's attack, he was attacked by Kizaru. His feet were unsteady and he fell to the ground with a thud. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Beasta and Izo also frantically wiped out the Marine in front of them in an attempt to return to defense. Kizaru stopped paddling now. One person just dragged Marco, Josie and other squad captains who wanted to return to defense, and released the 8-foot Joan Magatama and the laser ray. Sparkling fruit shocked the surrounding areas and divided the battlefield, preventing them from getting close to Whitebeard. All White Division captains cannot move forward even an inch. Even Ace on the execution platform looked at him with tears in his eyes. Dad. No. Akainu stepped forward, looking at Whitebeard who could barely stand with the naginata in his hand in front of him. There was sarcasm in his eyes. Whitebeard, you are old and useless. Whitebeard, you are old and useless. Sakazuki said coldly. Listen to Sakazuki's sarcastic remarks. Whitebeard gasped and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Old. It's useless, yes. I am indeed old. He was only slightly injured. He was almost unsteady on his feet. Sakazuki, Kuzan, Perusalino. Marine. You have really cultivated a group of amazing people. On the execution block. When Sengoku saw that Sakazuki was just one step away from killing Whitebeard, the leader of the era, he slowly closed his eyes. This summit war has been planned for a long time. Is it finally the end? Who is the backbone of the Whitebeard pirates? It has to be Whitebeard, as long as he dies. The huge Whitebeard pirates are just a piece of loose sand and nothing to worry about. More importantly, they Marine, in front of the whole world, wiped out the strongest 4 emperors Whitebeard pirate group in the New World. Step on the Whitebeard pirates and take over. From now on, their Marine status will be enhanced as never before. Even Kaido, even Big Mom, even Shanks. After seeing them Marine, you have to walk around. Except Sengoku. Garp, who was watching the battle on the sidelines, also cast complex eyes on Whitebeard. The last remaining pirate from the old era. Is he finally coming to his final chapter? Whitebeard. We, Marine, sent him off in such a grand way in front of people all over the world. Your legendary life is not in vain. The other Vice Admiral and Marine soldiers also briefly stopped fighting. They all also looked at the man who was about to end his life. The Shichibukai were all rebellious just now. It was rare for him to calm down at this moment. The war is about to end and the sky is getting brighter. The bleeding Marineford also ushered in its new dawn. It wasn't just Marineford who was silent. Even people around the world who were watching the live broadcast remained silent. Some people are excited about the demise of the Whitebeard pirates. Some people are mourning the imminent demise of Whitebeard. Anyway, after today, a new era for this sea is about to begin. At the same time, Division 17 is here. Yishao, Green Bull, and Zephyr saw Whitebeard being hit hard. The three people had different expressions. Because of their status, they did not want to get involved in this summit war. But if they really wanted them to watch Whitebeard die in front of them, ask yourself. They can't. Since learning that Zephyr joined the Whitebeard pirates, Whitebeard has taken special care of the 17th Division. However, what surprised Whitebeard even more? In the 17th Division, there are two strong men with terrifying ultimate strength. After learning about the situation, Whitebeard also takes them very seriously and treats the three of them as guests. After a few days of getting along, it can be said. The three of them can also feel the enthusiasm that Whitebeard brings to them. Now Whitebeard is in trouble, based on emotion and reason. They can't just sit idly by. The Green Bull took a step forward, although he liked Akainu's admiral personality very much. It can be appreciated and appreciated, today's situation. In the face of a catastrophe, everyone has his own master. Green Bull said, we can't ignore it. Green Bull said this, and nodded with a smile. It doesn't matter, after all, I am also a member of the pirate group. Zephyr also smiled bitterly and said, if you think about it, I have to take action. Thinking that he actually appeared in Marineford on behalf of the Whitebeard pirates. This is Zephyr before leaving Marine. Things that are unthinkable. Marineford. The end has come. Whitebeard, go to hell. Sakazuki put the power in his arm into ultimate, and he looked at Whitebeard in front of him coldly. Raise your fist. In the silent eyes of Marine's senior management, in the desperate eyes of squad leaders, and in the expectant eyes of all the onlookers. The fist was covered with magma, and the magma contained a terrifying heat wave. Akainu got the killer. Punch Whitebeard. However, at the moment Whitebeard was about to die. And Akainu also showed pride on his face, thinking that he was going to end Whitebeard's life. Suddenly, a violent gust of wind swept through Marineford. The wind roared, flying sand and rocks flew through the air, and the waves crashed on the shore, rolling up thousands of piles of yellow sand. Yellow sand came in, blowing so hard that everyone on Marineford could not open their eyes. But on the distant sea, a bolt of lightning flashed continuously on the sea level. His speed is so fast that it is almost invisible to the naked eye. Break through the illusion, break through the emptiness. The surrounding waves were constantly rolling and rushing towards both sides because of his ultimate speed. In the blink of an eye, the lightning-like figure arrived in front of Whitebeard in front of Marineford Bay. The moment Akainu was about to kill Whitebeard with one punch. The dark figure stretched out his hand. Just a bang, sound was heard, and fists and palms met. Akainu's fist was blocked by the Black Shadow's hand. Then, the Black Shadow squatted down half a step. In his other hand, endless thunder filled it. 1 billion volts Kirin. The Black Shadow was covered with thunder and lightning, and he slapped the majestic blue thunder on Sakazuki's head with one palm. Boom. Under the thunder and lightning, the blue thunder unicorn instantly hit Sakazuki, who was caught off guard. Sakazuki exploded and flew away. Half of his head was blown off by the billion-volt Kirin. Within everyone's view, the arrogant Sakazuki just now. He was directly submerged in this endless sea of thunder. Unparalleled power. Applied to Sakazuki. Sakazuki's body couldn't bear it at all, and was blown to pieces on the spot as if an atomic bomb had been strapped to it. All of a sudden, thick smoke arose at the scene. When the sea breeze blows, the dark shadow gradually appeared in everyone's eyes. But he saw that man wearing simple casual clothes, with short black hair, and holding the power of lightning. The wind was howling, and his clothes were rustling. Good. The person coming was none other than the captain of the 17th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Smoke billows. The sea breeze blows gently. Lin Yan stood there as steady as a rock. Everyone saw clearly who was coming. But the next second, boundless shock resounded among Marine and the Whitebeard Pirates at the scene. Marine and the pirates were shocked to know. Just now. What did they see? Lin, the captain of the 17th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, smashed their Marine Admiral Sakazuki into pieces with one palm. Damn it. The hearts of Marine and the Whitebeard Pirates were filled with turmoil. Who is Sakazuki? That was the Marine Admiral, the goal that countless Marines wanted to pursue throughout their lives. He is also known as the head of the three admirals, the man at the top of Marine. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is currently the #1 Marine and the most likely candidate to succeed the next Marine Marshal. Such an admiral. He is such a strong man who is comparable to the strength of an emperor. This is the man who is expected to become their Marine Marshal. Now. But he was the newly promoted captain of the Whitebeard Pirates. It was shattered with a slap. Why aren't they shocked? Not to mention ordinary Marine soldiers and soldiers of the Whitebeard Pirates. Even Sengoku, Garp, Aokiji, Kizaru and all the Shichibukai had a strange look in their eyes. No one expected it. If you don't sing, you will be a blockbuster. Lin, the captain of the 17th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, showed such great strength. Act vigorously and resolutely. He pushed their Admiral Akainu directly to the ground and beat him violently. This shock wasn't just for Marine. Many people in the Whitebeard Pirates were also dumbfounded. Notice. What happened just now? Sakazuki is only one step away from their father. As long as Sakazuki lifts the knife and falls, then they're dead. It is really possible to die. And just when they fell into an atmosphere of despair, a shining new star appears. Forrest, standing in front of Whitebeard. He took this fatal blow for him, and counter-killed Akainu with one move. Saved their father. Damn it, what a failure. Almost, just a little bit close. If we can kill Whitebeard, this war will belong to us Marine. What a pity. The Marines couldn't help but clench their fists. They were just one step away from victory in the war. Unexpectedly at this juncture, but something happened. Countless Marines shook their heads and secretly said it was a pity. Speaking of which, why haven't I seen this new captain of the Whitebeard Pirates before? Yes, I heard that this newly promoted division captain is not inferior to other division captains. Since he is so powerful, why didn't he show up at the beginning? The Whitebeard Pirates, what are they planning? After lamenting that they had not killed Whitebeard, the Marines suddenly remembered that Lin, the newly promoted captain of the division, had never shown his face before. Where has he gone? Many Marines are still speculating and suspicious. Forrest. The other division captains finally broke through the constraints and came to Whitebeard's side. Looking at the seriously injured Whitebeard, and then looking at Lin Yan who saved their captain in front of him. The squad captain's eyes were filled with gratitude. Send the captain back to the Moby Dick. Lin Yan called to others and asked them to send Whitebeard back. What should we do here? After listening to Lin Yan's words, Whitebeard raised his head weakly and asked Lin Yan. Next, leave it to me. Lin Yan said towards Whitebeard. Can it be done? Whitebeard pondered for a while, then he asked. How will you know if you don't try? Besides, our Whitebeard Pirates haven't lost yet. Lin Yan clenched a fist with one hand and said with confidence flashing on his face. The words fell. Behind Lin Yan. With a smile, Green Bull and Zephyr fell from the sky, following closely behind. Previously, the three of them were already preparing to rescue Whitebeard. Unfortunately, Lin Yan was one step ahead of them. Now Lin Yan has arrived. This summit war was created by Marine and the Whitebeard Pirates. The second curtain opened. How could they sit back and watch? Lin Yan stretched his fists and legs, looked at Yishao and others and said, Are you all ready? Yishao asked. What are you ready for? Lin Yan smiled slightly. Are you ready to fight and become famous? If we talk about the appearance of Yishao and Green Bull, the scene didn't cause much disturbance, but when Zephyr came forward, some sharp-eyed people also quickly discovered the other party's figure. See Zephyr show up. Their expressions suddenly became less calm. Wait, isn't that the Zephyr Admiral? Why did Mr. Zephyr appear in Marine? Teacher, didn't he just fire Marine a while ago? What happened? What method did Whitebeard use to win Zephyr Admiral over? After Marine saw Zephyr, they were puzzled. All eyes were fixed on Zephyr. Although Zephyr is not an admiral, he is no longer a member of their Marine. But his influence, but far more than admiral. So far, there are still many Marine soldiers who still maintain their habits. Either call him Teacher Zephyr or Zephyr Admiral. Same. Aokiji, Kizaru, and countless vice admirals also discovered Zephyr's presence. Teacher. Aokiji's expression changed slightly. His face was stunned. Teacher, doesn't he hate pirates the most? How? Just after leaving their Marine, they appeared in the Whitebeard Pirates. And judging from his appearance, it seems that he is going to join the war on behalf of the Whitebeard Pirates. This. Kizaru is no longer as calm as he was at the beginning. Damn it. What's going on? This is. Teacher Zephyr is actually going to be their enemy. Zephyr. The most outraged person was Sengoku, the Marine Marshal. He just left Marine a while ago, but now he has become a member of the Whitebeard Pirates, and even appeared in Marineford. What's the meaning? Zephyr, you are too willful. You don't take us Marine seriously. Oh, did he join the Whitebeard Pirates? The most open-minded person is undoubtedly Garp. He is straightforward and direct, coupled with the fact that he has been working with Zephyr for many years. After many hardships, life and death, Garp also admires Zephyr very much as a person. After seeing Zephyr's choice, he also showed a knowing smile in his heart. Hopefully, Zephyr chose the path of the Whitebeard Pirates. May it bring a happy ending to his stormy life. That person. He seems to be the former Marine Admiral Zephyr. Former Marine Admiral? Why did he appear in the Whitebeard Pirates? This. Impossible. I think I need to get my eyes checked. At the same time, through the live broadcast of Summit War, people from all over the world have witnessed this scene. Everyone's face showed different expressions of shock and surprise. At the same time, when countless Marines were shocked that their predecessor Marine Admiral Zephyr joined the Whitebeard Pirates. The other side. The magma that had just been torn apart was reunited like cells. The magma gradually condensed into a human shape. Not long after, Akainu, who had been torn apart by Lin Yan's palm just now, walked out of the magma. Have to say, Logia Devil Fruit is really not covered. At least, before the Wanokuni chapter is opened. Logia Devil Fruit has always been at the top of the list. It was only after the Nika fruit that the Phantom Beast completely showed its advantages. In one fell swoop, Logia became famous, after being recast in magma. Sakazuki's expression was terrifyingly gloomy. He was moody, his face was cold, and his eyes glared at Lin Yan. Once upon a time, as an admiral, he was blasted like this? After he became the admiral, which one of those pirates didn't become frightened and flee? But here comes Lin Yan. As soon as they met, he slapped himself with his backhand. The kind where his face was swollen from being slapped. Where is this? This is Summit War. In addition to the more than 100,000 troops facing off between the Whitebeard Pirates and Marine. Live broadcast. The scenes at the scene were broadcast to the whole world through live broadcast. Sakazuki said vaguely angrily, "Is there another clown here?" Lin Yan smiled and said, "Clown? Are you talking about yourself?" Sakazuki pointed at Lin Yan and said, "Do you really think that with your own power, you can change the current situation of the Whitebeard Pirates?" I said, "Admiral, why don't you know that I can't change the current situation of the Whitebeard Pirates?" Listening to Sakazuki's ridicule, Lin Yan was not annoyed, he said calmly. "HMPH, there has been a lot of news about you in the sea recently. I hope that your strength will not disappoint me in the future." Sakazuki snorted coldly. "My heart has been furious for a long time." Finished. He put his foot on the ground. In Sakazuki's palm, the magma turned. The heat boiled and the searing air twisted. Immediately afterwards, Sakazuki stepped forward, and the power of lava fruit exploded, Dark Hound. A wolf head made of magma emerged, with a high temperature that burns everything. The wolf head paved the way towards Lin Yan. Go to hell. This was not enough. After using Dark Hound, Sakazuki added another Great Eruption. The two-pronged approach created a monstrous heat wave. The aftermath of terror shook Marineford, and the ground rumbled. He, Sakazuki, must regain the lost face today. However, faced with two heavy blows from Sakazuki, Lin Yan was unmoved. Then there was a bang. A blind man stood in front of Lin Yan. A smile moved. The long sword was drawn out from the cane and faced Sakazuki's charged attack. The smile was not too big, gravity knife, tiger. But the tiger, which was condensed with sword energy and gravity, roared and collided with Sakazuki's Dark Hound and Great Eruption. Boom. The aura between the two of them blossomed instantly. Like a strong wind passing by, the nearby Marine soldiers and the crew members of the Whitebeard Pirates were swept out one after another. Tornadoes torn apart in all directions. Sakazuki raised his head and glanced at Yishao. Experts will know if there is one as soon as they take action. Even though Sakazuki was extremely conceited, when he saw Yishao blocking his attack so easily. His brows furrowed slightly. "Tell me who you are." Sakazuki questioned. I'm just a little-known person in the 17th Division. His name is not worth mentioning." Yishao said calmly. "Just a soldier." After learning the identity of the other party, Sakazuki sneered. "Do you think you can stop me? At least, the captain doesn't need to take action to deal with you." Yishao has always been elegant and easygoing. But now, when facing the enemy, his usual calm demeanor also began to disappear. The moment he pulled out the long knife, his whole aura became cold and stern. Bang bang bang. The confrontation between Yi Xiao and Akainu is about to break out. The scene was instantly filled with turbulent air, countless violent air currents flew in all directions, and the ice underfoot was cracked. The most intense battle broke out between Yi Xiao and Akainu. The two people suddenly disappeared on the spot. Yi Xiao's body was like a tiger, the long knife in his hand emitted bursts of cold light, and he kept slashing towards Akainu. Akainu's fists are not bad either, with the blessing of lava fruit. His power reached unprecedented levels. With every collision, the sound of friction between bones and flesh can be heard, which is the sound of broken bones. The fight between the two became faster and faster, and became more and more intense. Just the sound of the collision made the surrounding Marine soldiers and White Corps crew members cover their ears and couldn't stand it. Great eruption. Gravity slash. A flash. The two exchanged a total of 50 moves. It can be said that the means frequently reveal all the trump cards. But even so, they are still on par. See this scene. The Marines are all a little numb, to know. This is Sakazuki. This is Marine's top combat power. Not to mention being on par with Akainu. Even if you can defeat Admiral twice, it is enough to prove your strength and ability. Seeing him smiling at how he still managed to keep up despite the long-lasting confrontation. The Marines couldn't help but stare. They could not contain the shock in their hearts. What if you were Lin, the captain of the 17th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, and took matters into your own hands and had a back-and-forth fight with their Marine Admiral? How was Yi Xiao introduced before? He is just a soldier. A miscellaneous soldier can actually show such strength that is not weaker than their strongest admiral. Admiral is on the same level as the 4 emperors. You are riding a horse and having fun here. At the same time, Marine suddenly discovered a lot of delicate things. From beginning to end, every time he smiles, his eyes are closed and never open. He can't be blind. This thought emerged in everyone's mind involuntarily. The next second, their thoughts were confirmed. When I saw Yi Xiao, he was indeed a blind man. The Marines' hearts were once again stirred up. I'm crazy, the mentality of labor and management is broken. Fighting with their Sakazuki admiral with eyes closed turned into this devastating scene. This is if your eyes are not blind. How terrifying would that strength be? Hiss. The Marines couldn't help but take a deep breath. Actually, not just Marine. This is the Whitebeard Pirates. When they saw that Yi Xiao could actually compete with Marine Admiral Akainu, they also opened their mouths, a little dumbfounded. They had naturally heard of Yi Xiao's strength before. But Nehi Yi Xiao was too low-key, in their subconscious mind. A smile is at best not on the level of Commodore or Rear Admiral. Nowadays, if you don't sing, you have become a blockbuster. As soon as he smiled, he had a confrontation with Akainu, and it was rare that Akainu couldn't take any advantage. A smile can be so strong? Oh my god. This. Marco, Josie, Bista, Izo and more than a dozen squad captains, as well as the tens of thousands of Whitebeard pirates present, were all alarmed. One by one, they opened their mouths and were so shocked that they couldn't even close their mouths. For others, fighting between gods is just an adjective. However, when we arrived at the 17th Division, they really had a group of gods. But this is not enough. In the eyes of Marine and pirates, as well as the people who watched this epic battle of Marineford through live broadcast. Suddenly, Yi Xiao held a sword in one hand and pointed at the sky. Immediately afterwards, observation hockey and gravity fruit are opened to their maximum. A spring-like light effect suddenly rose into the sky. Next moment, a huge shadow enveloped the entire Marineford. The Marine soldiers couldn't help but look up. You don't know if you don't see it. A huge meteorite that blocks out the sky and is full of visual impact. Marine quickly smashed towards them. Meteorite. The Marines felt a stream of cold air rushing from the soles of their feet to the tinling cap, and they couldn't help but feel trembling with fear. This blind man. This one smiles. This is a miscellaneous soldier of Division 17. He actually raised his hand and hit Marineford with a devastating meteorite. Such horrific means. A series of horrifying eyes looked at Yi Xiao blankly. This blind man, who is he? While everyone in Marineford was shocked, as a party. Sakazuki's expression also began to change slightly. He can feel it. The feeling of oppression this meteorite brings to me. This is no ordinary meteorite. This meteorite is wrapped in the gravity fruit of Yi Xiao. The meteorite, which was originally hundreds of thousands of meters in diameter, was compressed by him to a distance of less than a few hundred meters. It's like compressing Mount Everest to the size of a fist. The mass inside its meteorite. Terrifying to the point of ultimate. It's far from the existence in the theatrical version that allows Hawkeye to cut through a few flat A's at will. The meteorite passed through the clouds and headed straight toward Sakazuki with its tail of heat. There is no way to avoid it, there is no way to escape. Behind his back, it's Marine who can't see the end of the world at a glance. Sakazuki snorted coldly. He was so arrogant that he did not choose to give in at all. Both arms were wrapped in magma, forming two huge fists. Sakazuki made a strong gesture with his hands. Then, boom. Sakazuki directly withstood the impact of the meteorite that covered the sky and the sun with his bare hands. The moment the two sides collided, a violent shockwave rippled out. The meteorite's offensive was also defeated by Sakazuki in an instant. Yishao has the strength and level of Marine Admiral. But isn't it Sakazuki? Not to mention that Sakazuki is now at his peak and is recognized as one of the strongest 3 admirals. In less than a second or two, Sakazuki blocked the meteorite. Holding the meteorite high, he did not forget to mock, "Is this all you have?" Yishao did not reply immediately. He just opened his eyes slightly, his eyes filled with white eyes. He gave Sakazuki a look, as expected of Marine Admiral. "This is really tricky." Smiling quite calmly, he paused for a while and said, "Then, how about another one?" Swish, 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 in the spotlight of Marine, pirates, and the world. But he saw the second meteorite pass through the clouds and hit the back of the first meteorite with a bang, like a stack of arhats. 2 meteorites. Everyone on the Marine side felt very outrageous when they saw a meteorite. This blind man is actually so powerful. Unexpectedly, it's not over yet. The second meteorite came one after another. Their mouths dropped open. If there is no admiral, let the group of them go up. Who knows what it will look like if it is polished by this meteorite. Even Sengoku and Garp, 2 guys with amazing AFK equipment, looked at it seriously and laughed. The terrifying power of Yishao can be felt even from a long distance away. This person. Who is he? Since when has there been such a strong person in the 17th Division? Sengoku suddenly felt great pressure. The pressure was so overwhelming that he was a little distracted. Why? Why is the Whitebeard Pirates still so powerful? There is such a fighting force. Why not take it out in the first place? Hateful. The Whitebeard Pirates were harder to crack than he thought. 2 meteorites. Marco, Josie, Beasta and everyone else couldn't help but scream. The other members couldn't help but swallow their saliva. The Adam's apple rolled deeply, especially Marco. He clearly felt it. Yishao's strength is even better than his own. This kid. As the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates, Whitebeard was also shocked by Yishao's strength. But his eyes looked towards Lin Yan more appreciatively. I don't know where this kid found such a strong man. Accident. It really surprised him. Lin Yan was also surprised when he watched from the side. He even couldn't help shouting, F*K, Master Madara. He looked at Yishao with piercing eyes. 2 meteorites stacked on top of each other? Isn't this the famous scene of one man challenging the ninja world? Smile and smile. Yes you can. Lin Yan shouted. I didn't expect that. I actually saw the potential of King B in you. King B? Yishao also heard Lin Yan's voice, and he asked the other party in confusion. It is clear. He is older. I can't understand the meaning of Lin Yan's words at all. I want to hear you shout out the words. I recognize your strength. Lin Yan said expectantly. Why did you say this? Yishao then asked. It's nothing, just feel free to deal with Akainu. Seeing that the 2 of them were not on the same channel at all, Lin Yan didn't bother to explain. Let's talk about Sakazuki. In his eyes, the 2 meteorites collided together like a stack of arhats. All of a sudden, Sakazuki's expression also changed. The pressure on his hands doubled, and his body was almost unstable and he almost fell to the ground. The pressure of the 2 meteorites compressed into ultimate by Yishao was really too strong. Not to mention, Yishao already possesses the strength of Admiral. This is a game of Admiral-level strength between both sides. Hitting Sakazuki with 2 meteorites, Sakazuki was also knocked into the Marineford soil. Admiral. Seeing Admiral being buried by 2 meteorites, the surrounding Marines couldn't help shouting. But Sakazuki is Sakazuki after all, a second after the burial. He relied on his huge strength to forcefully push up the 2 meteorites. Sakazuki, you are still as strong as ever, good. After Zephyr witnessed this scene, he nodded. Sakazuki is indeed not something that ordinary people can easily deal with. Drink. Sakazuki shouted loudly, and the magma in his hand flowed upward, enveloping the 2 meteorites. In less than an hour and a half, 2 indestructible meteorites, in Sakazuki's hands, melted into magma, turned into magma raindrops, and dropped on the ground. After melting the 2 meteorites, Sakazuki remained calm for a moment. After fighting for such a long time, it's okay that he didn't defeat the opponent. Within a short period of time. On the contrary, he was suppressed. How could Sakazuki not be angry? He also went berserk. Meteor volcano. In an instant, tens of thousands of magma and fire rains fell from the sky, hitting Yishao fiercely like meteors. Yishao kept swinging the sword. The magma in front of him was split open by him. At this time, another Marine Admiral Kizaru also fell from the sky. He fell in front of Lin Yan, Zephyr and others. "Captain, we meet again. And, Mr. Zephyr, I am so lucky to meet you." Kizaru put his hands in his pockets and said very politely, "Yes, we meet again." Seeing Kizaru taking the initiative to get closer, Lin Yan naturally responded with a smile. "Paluzalino, although I was once your teacher, now, I am your enemy. Getting close to the enemy is not what you, as an admiral, should do." Zephyr responded coldly. "Oh, Teacher Zephyr, you are still as strict as ever." Kizaru smiled. "Since you all said that I can't get close, then I have no choice but to take action." While talking, Kizaru took his hand out of his pocket. At his fingertips, yellow light shone out, but Kizaru did not point the yellow flash at Lin Yan or Zephyr. But I saw him smiling slightly. The yellow flash pointed at Yishao, who was fighting with Sakazuki not far away. Kizaru knew that Lin Yan and Zephyr were difficult to deal with, so he naturally chose Yishao as his target. He could tell. The power of a smile. Almost on the same level as their admiral. That kind of people. If it can be solved as soon as possible. For them Marine. It can be said to be 100 benefits without any harm. Kizaru is very happy to do this kind of thing that makes the Whitebeard pirates lose their combat power. "Kizaru, you don't take us seriously enough." Seeing that Kizaru actually planned to sneak a smile, Lin Yan was immediately happy. Sneak a smile in front of them. How conceited is this? Actually, for Kizaru, he really looked down upon Lin Yan and Zephyr. In his opinion, no matter how strong Lin Yan is, he can only be a division captain at most. Zephyr is of course his teacher, but also his former predecessor, Marine Admiral. But age is here. The late Whitebeard was eaten by their marines. Not to mention the Zephyr in front of me. After I deal with this blind man, I will compete with you two again. Paddling is paddling, but things still have to be done, and the light in Kizaru's hands shines brightly. Not long after, a laser beam pierced the sky, and with a laser sound effect, it was launched in the direction of Yishao. Yishao also noticed the laser light emitted from the side. He frowned. He wanted to stop him, but the Sakazuki in front of him didn't give him any chance. The movements were even faster than before. Yishao couldn't make any move at all. The moment when the laser beam was about to hit him, he smiled. Boom. Another figure jumped out like a tiger, intercepting the yellow flash of light halfway. Oh? Kizaru looked sideways at the figure. Green Bull twisted his neck, with a cold look on his face. Is this Marine's combat method? Just 2-on-1, but also a sneak attack? Yishao is the brother of Green Bull. The two have known each other for many years. It is difficult to smile. He won't sit back and watch. Oh, who are you? Looking at the speed of the Green Bull and the yellow flash that blocked him halfway, Kizaru vaguely sensed that the opponent was not simple. A miscellaneous soldier in the 17th Division, specializing in treating clowns like you. Green Cow reports his family status. Another bastard? When Kizaru heard this, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. First the smile from before. Then there is the Green Cow in front of us. Today. Why are there so many miscellaneous soldiers in this 17th Division? Don't tell me yet. Yishao and Lu Niu are really the little soldiers in the 17th Division. In addition to arranging the position of vice captain for Zephyr, Lin Yan did not arrange any positions for them. The proper salted fish number 1 and salted fish number 2. Then what if I insist on killing the blind man 2 against 1? Kizaru asked the Green Bull. Then, I don't mind sending you to hell. Green Bull said, rubbing his hands. He started to smile. Green Cow is also a little itchy. However, I couldn't find an opponent. Now the emergence of Kizaru has given Green Bull an opportunity to take advantage of it. You are really confident. Kizaru didn't take it seriously. His smile was very strong and he didn't deny it. But he didn't think so. In the 17th Division, there are also strong men who are as good as Yishao. After all, Kizaru is a being who doesn't take Lin Yan and Zephyr seriously. As for the long-haired man in front of me, Sri. He doesn't know him. Then, let's try it. Green Bull naturally saw the contempt in Kizaru's eyes. It's too late, it's fast. The green bull dodged and disappeared. The next second, he came to Kizaru. He raised his fist and punched Kizaru. Kizaru immediately prepared to dodge. At this time, at Kizaru's feet, several plants sprouted from the ground. It was wrapped around Kizaru's legs like a vine. Oh hey, I'm actually entangled, Kizaru smiled lightly. But very quickly, the calmness on Kizaru's face disappeared. At the moment when the vines were entangled, he only felt that all the strength in his body was rapidly disappearing. What? Kizaru looked down at the vines at his feet seriously. This vine. Something weird. Kizaru deliberately tried to dodge. But there was no time to take any action. Rumble. The fist landed on Kizaru's chest. At this time, Kizaru felt a huge force coming from him. This fist has an inexplicable energy. Kizaru's expression suddenly changed. He was blown away and hit the wall behind him. A human-shaped mark was smashed into the walls. There was a violent vibration, smoke and dust flew everywhere, and the second piece of ruins was smashed out. The moment Kizaru took action, all of Marine's eyes were filled with anticipation. Yi Xiao's strength has been recognized by all of them. But no matter how strong you are, after all, it's just one person. As strong as Whitebeard, they were defeated in the hands of their Marine. You are a blind man. How big of a stir can it make? Along with this, Kizaru also took action. The faces of the Marines are getting more and more confident. As long as the two admirals take action together, their Marines will be invincible. However, before they could even get excited about Kizaru's appearance, not even a few seconds passed before and after. Their Marine Admiral Kizaru. Another blow knocked them flying out. Before it was Marco, now it's this man with the green hair. Kizaru Admiral. Seeing their second admiral being smashed away in embarrassment, they couldn't help shouting. Maid. What happened? Their Kizaru Admiral. The water has become so wet. Stronger than Sakazuki, stronger than Perusalino, they are Marine's three admirals, Marine's top combat power. Today's battle. All of them were turned into background boards. Are there any masters? Nani, is Green Bull so strong? That's Kizaru. He was knocked unconscious by one punch. Captain Lin, your 17th division is so awesome. Compared to Marine, who was in mourning, everyone on the Whitebeard Pirates team was excited, clenching their fists and dancing with excitement. Previously, because of my father's defeat, everyone was depressed and stopped moving forward, and their morale plummeted. Now, Lin Yan made a strong appearance with his 17th division team. Beat up Akainu and kicked Kizaru. It really turned two of Marine's top three admirals into backgrounds. The impressive reputation he produced made the crew members of the White Group very happy. I never expected that the 17th division had just been established. He actually immediately became the leader of the Whitebeard Pirates. In this extremely cruel summit war, supported their White Group Sky. The two subordinates in the 17th division are so powerful. As a division captain, Lin's strength, how strong should that be? At this moment, the crew members of the Whitebeard Pirates began to look forward to Captain Lin's next performance. Kizaru was hit hard and flew out. He crashed into the wall, causing dust and smoke to fill the sky. But Kizaru is a Marine Admiral after all. Want to defeat him? It's not that easy. Among the smoke and dust, Kizaru came out. Only, at this moment, his face looked a little unhappy. Notice, he was kicked away by Marco before. It was purely because Kizaru wanted to paddle for a while, and he did it on purpose. The situation today is completely different. Watching the enemy suppress him in full view of everyone. Kizaru scowled. I wasn't very happy. Who are you? Kizaru didn't know Green Bull, so he asked him a second time. You'll know right away. Green Bull replied calmly. In that case, let me try your ability, Kizaru said coldly. While talking, call out. Only a sound broke through the air. A yellow light flashed from Kizaru's fingertips, and then the laser suddenly fired towards the Green Bull. Such a fast laser light emission speed made Lin Yan's eyes light up slightly in the distance. He said, Kizaru is starting to be serious. Is there a time when he is serious? Beside Lin Yan, Zephyr simply responded, the Green Bull has angered him. The war is about to break out. As an admiral, Kizaru took the lead. Radium Rays. Yada Hikaru, 8-foot beautiful Magatama. Various abilities are revealed from Kizaru, as Lin Yan saw it. Perusalino. It has indeed entered serious mode. Mysterious meaning. Use your skills carefully. After entering the serious mode, all Kizaru's skills are extremely accurate. Even if the enemy is a Green Bull, the ability released by Sparkling Fruit is like having eyes. The overwhelming force swept towards the green bull without any blind spots. Pity. Although Kizaru's speed is fast and his attacks are intensive, his accuracy is far better than before. But Green Bull is not a fuel-efficient lamp either. At this time, but he saw the Green Bull dodge all the sparkling fruit's attacks. Then a ray of light shot out from his sharp eyes. To stab. Green Bull slapped his hands on the ground, and countless vine thorns shot out. He moved toward Kizaru. Kizaru jumped into the air. Avoid this attack by the Green Bull. Is this your devil fruit ability? Kizaru asked, looking at the Green Bull. The Green Bull didn't reply. With one move of his hand, a vine shot up from the ground. Immediately afterwards, the vine turned into a towering hand. He grabbed Kizaru. Kizaru clasped his hands together, and then a yellow flash spread across his palms. The hand slowly opened. The Amankong sword appears in Kizaru's hand. Wielding Tien Kong Yun sword, he slashed at the vines with his sword. Crash. The sharpness of the Tiankong sword left a deep crack directly on the vine. The Green Bull showed no expression at all, but slowly raised his arms. The power of devil fruit is activated again. A total of 20 vines sprouted out of the ground again. 20 vines turned into 20 big hands, and they grabbed Kizaru. The scene was like a crowd of demons dancing wildly. The vines as thick as warships were crushing towards Kizaru. Oh hey. It's really tricky. Surrounded by 20 giant vines, Kizaru's attack did not fail at all, even though he said it was difficult. Tiankong Yunjian skyrocketed to a height of more than 40 meters. Real 40-meter machete, carrying a 40-meter-long sword. Kizaru swung his sword. 20 giant vine hands were cut open again. Kizaru was not willing to give in and retaliates. A radium ray from his fingertips swept towards the Green Bull. On the side of the Green Bull's head, the laser beam passed him by. After fighting each other, the two of them entered their most primitive state again. Kizaru controls the Amanking Cloud Sword. Green Ox also turns vines into swords. Holding the long vine knife on the side, armament hockey covered it. The two of them immediately took out the swordsmanship they had practiced for many years. Collided together. Certainly. Green Bull's swordsmanship was much inferior to Yishao's. But Kizaru's swordsmanship is not much better than that of Green Ox. In addition, Green Bull's own strength is good, which can make up for its weakness in swordsmanship. For a moment, the two of them couldn't tell which one was stronger. But, although the two were fighting equally well, but that doesn't mean it's the same in other people's eyes. Like Akainu, Kizaru is also an admiral of their marine. Kizaru was defeated earlier. The marine soldiers thought that this might be Kizaru paddling. Or, he didn't take it seriously. Now when I see the two of them, they start to get serious. Their Admiral Kizaru, however, still did not gain the upper hand. Even when the two of them were fighting, it was hard to tell the difference between the winner and the loser. The shock in the hearts of the soldiers once again set off a storm. The smile of Admiral Akainu, who competed with them before, was enough to amaze people. 2 meteorites that covered the sky and sun fell down, not to mention how strong the visual impact was. Now there is another green cow. Are they all Admiral-level combatants? What a joke. Once upon a time, the pinnacle of the Admiral level. So worthless. Akainu and Kizaru were involved and failed to make any progress. The marine soldiers couldn't help but start to worry. And compared to marine, everyone on the Bai Tuan side was extremely happy. Especially seeing the unexperienced look of the marine soldiers. Not to mention how happy they felt. This is just a little soldier in the 17th division of our Whitebeard pirates. So you two admirals are implicated. Is this the Marine Admiral, known as the pinnacle of marine combat power? While mocking Marine, everyone also looked at the Green Bull with admiration. Strong, Green Bull beat Kizaru to death. While Marine and Bai Tuan were horrified, on sight. After the two of them fought for hundreds of rounds with no outcome. The Green Bull suddenly retreated, in Kizaru's doubtful eyes. Green Bull spoke, and said, Marine Admiral, swordsmanship is not something I'm good at, so there's not much point in fighting like this. What do you want? Kizaru held the Tiankong sword in one hand and looked at the Green Bull with burning eyes. Then, let's try my latest developed move. Green Bull smiled mysteriously, after saying this. Green Bull's entire aura began to change, but I saw him slowly raising his head. Under the watchful eyes of everyone in Marineford, he clasped his hands together and shouted, the tree world is coming. It's too late, it's fast. Crash. In the land of Marineford in front of me. Suddenly countless vines and green plants appeared. Vines and green plants are growing crazily. Green Bull directly created a forest at the scene of Summit War that he could use any method he wanted to use. Damn it, it's coming. Lin Yan's eyes lit up as he watched from the sidelines. First, the Smile meteorite hit Akainu, and then it hit the top of the green ox tree boundary cloth. Tisk tisk tisk. He felt that what he had received was not Yishao and Green Bull, but Madara and Hashirama. Made. For a moment, Lin Yan couldn't tell whether this was a Summit War or a Ninja World War. At this moment, the pressure has completely come to Marine's side. The Tree World has arrived. Since Green Bull joined the 17th Division, Lin Yan has competed with Green Bull several times in his spare time. Arrival in the Tree World is the skill template Lin Yan once set for him. At that time, Green Bull felt that this development direction was similar to its own Devil Fruit, and the name was also very hockey, so it kept it. After many days of development, this is what happens now. Of course, this is the first time it is used. Green Bull is still a little rusty, but it was also performed in a decent manner. Tangled. The Green Bull smiled confidently, and countless vines spread towards Kizaru. What a weird devil fruit. Kizaru held the sword in one hand and then slashed away. The sword energy swept away. Countless vines were cut in half by Kizaru. However, the vines that were cut in half quickly grew again. The crazy growing vines rushed towards Kizaru again. After Kizaru slashed several times in succession, he also felt bored. Isn't it over yet? What, don't you like this trick? Then try this again. Green Bull clasped his hands together and continued to shout, Wooden Golem Jutsu. Under his control, countless vines started to get entangled and tied together. Then a wooden golem comparable to Ultraman appeared in everyone's sight. The wooden golem holds a giant wooden sword. Like an ancient giant stone statue, it has a Madara-like expression, majestic and amazing aura. If the arrival of the Tree World wasn't such a big shock, it wouldn't be so. The moment the wooden golem jutsu is unleashed, the whole Marineford was in a state of excitement. This. Taller than our giant Vice Admiral. What kind of power is this? After the Marines saw such a huge wooden golem, they couldn't stop being shocked. But this is not the most shocking thing. Under the control of Green Bull, 10 giants as tall as Ultraman rose from the ground. 10 giants. Oh my god. This man, what kind of devil fruit is he? Although there are many people who control puppets, such as Cracker, one of the 3 Admiral stars of the Big Mom Pirates. But the puppet he controlled was only less than 3 to 5 meters tall. The height is 3 to 5 meters, no matter how many are made. It doesn't have much visual impact either, but this wooden golem is in front of me. The height is a full 50 or 60 meters. They stand here one by one, and Marineford is mostly covered by their shadows. It can be seen how jaw-dropping the scene is. Wooden golem, wooden golem. Seeing Green Bull's devil fruit ability, Lin Yan was so excited. How envious. He also wants to activate the Tree Realm Descending, he also wants to activate the Wooden Golem Jutsu, and he also wants to use the legendary True Several Thousand Hands. That was the ultimate ninjutsu that once pushed Master Madara to the ground and beat him violently. Pity. This thing has nothing to do with Lin Yan. Lin Yan can only use Mangekyo and Susanoo to comfort his young heart. Let's talk about Kizaru. After 10 wooden golems surrounded him, Wooden Golem clenched the wooden giant sword in his hand, attacked fiercely, and all slashed towards Kizaru. Kizaru interspersed. He also felt great pressure. Tien Kong Yun's sword constantly blocked the attacks of the 10 wooden golems in front of him. After all, the opponent is a Green Bull, and it is extremely difficult for Kizaru to deal with it. In the blink of an eye, the scene was full of fighting. Yishao and Akainu fought so hard that the world was turned upside down. Kizaru was also entangled with Green Bull's Tree Realm Advent and Wooden Golem Jutsu. This scene. Marine was shocked when he saw it, Bai Tuan was excited, and the people watching through the live broadcast were stunned. Even the execution platform. Ace couldn't help but open his eyes wide when he saw it. For he was imprisoned into Impel down, so for news from the outside world. He had no idea. Even if the White Group recruits new crew members, it's not clear at all. When the Whitebeard pirates landed in Marineford. This is Ace's first time hearing about Division 17. Division 17? It is not difficult to guess that this should be a new division opened by Dad. Estimate. Recruited a new strong man, I thought. The captain and members of the 17th Division have not been established for a long time. The whole ship is mediocre in strength. Unexpectedly, when the Summit War started. Ace then realized. Wrong. How wrong I was. Just 2 unknown people entangled Marine Admiral Akainu and Marine Admiral Kizaru. More importantly, Their 17th Division captain has not yet come forward in person. I am Sao. This is the 17th Division. What is its origin? Ace was shocked at the same time. Sengoku next to it is also a bit uncertain. He clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. His arms under his robe were covered with veins. As far as the current situation is concerned, in addition to Yishao and Green Bull, Lin Yan and Zephyr did not show up. Although Zephyr is Sunset, but at least he can have a fight with their admiral. More importantly, Zephyr was also Akainu Kizaru Aokiji's teacher. Be really hands-on. Aokiji Kizaru and the others couldn't kill him. Just a smiling Green Bull Zephyr. It cancelled out the three major forces of their marines. Now there is an additional captain of the 17th Division, Lin. Sengoku couldn't help but fall into deep thought after being stunned for a while. In this 17th Division, how many beasts, horses, ghosts and gods are hidden? There are actually so many strong people, it's too outrageous. Because of a smile and the explosion of the Green Bull. Defeated 2 Marine admirals in a row. The morale of the Whitebeard pirates has greatly increased. Countless people took a step forward and burst into extremely violent shouts. The people in Division 17 are so powerful, we can't hold them back. Yeah, our trip this time is to get Ace back from Marine. Marine, are you ready for our wrath? Get rid of these troublesome Marines in front of you. The morale of the crew of the Whitebeard pirates has greatly increased. They rushed towards Marine again, just like they say. The people in Division 17 are so awesome, you must not fall behind. The Whitebeard pirates broke out again, and they launched a counterattack against Marine. Here we go. Facing the counterattack of the Whitebeard pirates. Although Marine's morale has been suppressed. But they have absolute numerical suppression over the crew members of the White group. Want to start a fight again? Are you a match for the Whitebeard group? If you want to fight, come on. Marine didn't hesitate to give in, and the two sides collided again. The difference is, previously, Whitebeard was the backbone of the battlefield. Now, the position of the backbone, it fell on Lin Yan. Battlefield. The curtain was opened again. At this time, the last admiral of Marine, Aokiji, walked up to Zephyr and Lin Yan, teacher. Looking at the teacher in front of him, Aokiji's eyes were full of complexity. Teacher. Aokiji came to Zephyr, he stopped and said. Who is Aokiji least willing to be an enemy of? Look no further than the Zephyr in front of you. After all, he was the person he valued most. He is also his own teacher. Same. Zephyr also saw Aokiji approaching. The moment I saw Aokiji, he slowly closed his eyes. Immediately afterwards, after some time, Zephyr's eyes slowly opened, and at the moment they opened, he said with an unmistakable voice, "Take action, Kuzan." At the same time, Zephyr added, "As an enemy." Look at Zephyr so determined. Even if Aokiji wanted to say something, he would not want to collide with Zephyr. But he had to sigh. Okay, finished. The two started fighting. But whether it's Aokiji or Zephyr, it's all just going through the motions. They didn't come up and start a fight with Akainu Kizaru like Green Bull smiled. After Aokiji and Zephyr met, since then, 3 Marine admirals completely joined the battlefield. The scene of Summit War was accompanied by a long battle. It has begun to enter a white-hot stage. Number of casualties on both sides. It is being multiplied and improved. Even because the battle was so fierce, there were signs of injuries to Vice Admiral and the captain of the White Group's affiliated pirate group. A Vice Admiral had an arm cut off due to exhaustion. The captain of a pirate group affiliated with the White Group was stabbed in the abdomen by Marine because his skills were inferior to others. The sublimation of combat. This caused Marine and the pirates to become jealous. In their eyes, there is only one thought. Kill all the enemies in front of them. In such a crazy confrontation, Marine relies on its superior numbers. The crew of the White Group were suppressed again, coupled with the intervention and sweep of the pacifists. The number of casualties of the Whitebeard pirates. Obviously several times more than Marine. Sengoku witnessed this scene. He couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. The strength shown by the people in the 17th Division really surprised him. Fortunately, in terms of top combat power, because the 17th Division announced its participation in the war, it is currently on par with their Marines. It can be seen in the battle between troops below. Marines' advantages are still extremely obvious. Led by hundreds of Vice Admirals, giant Vice Admirals, hundreds of pacifists, and countless Six-style masters. Even though morale had been dampened previously, Marine was still able to gain a firm foothold on the battlefield as always, keeping the Whitebeard pirates from making any progress. Just keep this trend going. The destruction of the Whitebeard pirates is close at hand. just when Sengoku was about to give the order to wipe out the Whitebeard pirates. A piece of bad news came to his ears again. The sentry watching the battle from a distance contacted Sengoku's phone bug, and the sentry said, "Marshal, there are 3 warships approaching the rear of the Whitebeard pirates. Is this your order?" 3 warships approaching? Sengoku never issued such an order. Look up at it. But on the distant sea, 3 warships appeared out of thin air and were approaching Marineford. The appearance of these 3 warships, it immediately attracted the attention of the Whitebeard pirates and Marines on the scene. Because the distance was relatively close, the crew members at the rear of the Whitebeard pirates felt as if their scalps were numb as they watched the warships approaching. Today, there are not many people guarding the Baituan rear area. Once Marine takes advantage of it, the consequences could be disastrous. The crew members of the White Group mistakenly thought that the other party was from Marine. Immediately turn the artillery fire and lock on the 3 warships in front of you. At the moment when the 2 sides were at war with each other, they were about to light the fuse and fire. Jinbei on the warship stood up. Stop. When they saw that the operator on the warship was the familiar Jinbei. The crew members of Baituan were stunned for a moment, and then they couldn't help shouting, "Jinbei! Why are you on the warship?" Jinbei explained the reason. He went to war with prisoners. The crew of the Whitebeard pirates looked towards the warship. As expected. On the warship, in addition to Jinbei, there are also the former 7 warlords of the Sea Crocodile, who were previously imprisoned by Admiral Kizaru into Impel Down's supernova, and tens of thousands of prisoners. The amount is jaw-dropping. Is this the prisoner brought out by Team Lin to liberate Impel Down? To know. No matter how powerful the Whitebeard pirates are. But compared to Marine, it's still slightly lacking. In head-to-head confrontation, from beginning to end, Marine was never taken advantage of. Now the prisoners appear, and also to join the battlefield as the Whitebeard pirates. Everyone suddenly became excited about Lin Yan lurking into the underwater prison. Most everyone in the Whitebeard pirates knows something about it. Team Lin actually brought the prisoners. Great, there are at least tens of thousands of these prisoners, which can greatly alleviate the urgent needs of our Whitebeard pirates. With the help of such a large number of powerful people, I can't see how Marine can still be so successful. Things spread from 10 to 10. Suddenly, hope was rekindled in the eyes of the entire Whitebeard pirates. At the same time, compared to the excitement of the Whitebeard pirates, Marine's reaction was more intense. Why are those people wearing prison uniforms? Isn't this the prison uniform of our underwater prison? Why? Why do the prisoners of the undersea prison appear in Marineford? The Marines also frowned. Prisoners will appear at Summit War. This is something they find very puzzling. Not only Marine, but also Akainu Kizaru and the others who were fighting against the Smiling Green Bull saw the prisoners landing at Marineford. Surprise also appeared in their eyes. Magellan. On the execution platform, Sengoku clenched his fists and looked at the prisoners on the warship. Even though he had always been calm, he became angry in his heart. He realized it immediately. Impel Down over there. I'm afraid something happened. If it were just an accident, it wouldn't be a problem for Sengoku at all. The issue is, this group of prisoners came to Marineford, or join the battlefield as the Whitebeard pirates. This is a rhythm that will inevitably make them enemies of Marine. Suddenly, Sengoku turned his head suddenly and looked in the direction of Lin Yan, the captain of the 17th Division of the Whitebeard pirates in the center of the battlefield. Notice. Back in the beginning, he had never seen the footsteps of Lin Yan, captain of the 17th Division. At that time, it was thought that Whitebeard would leave the only escape route in the rear to him to guard. It seems now, I guessed completely wrong. With the world's attention focused on Marineford, he quietly sneaked into Impel Down and freed the prisoners. The prisoner has been incarcerated to this day. Marine has a lot of resentment towards them. Now they are all released, through the hands of the prisoners. In terms of military strength, the Marines are temporarily on par with them. Sengoku cast his gaze in the direction of Lin Yan. This is the new captain of the Whitebeard pirates. It's a bit beyond Sengoku's expectations, it's not hard to guess. From now on, he will be a great enemy of Marine. Whitebeard. Your luck is really extraordinary. When the Whitebeard pirates are about to be destroyed, we have introduced such a strong and capable captain. I'm a little envious, although it is a pity that Lin Yan could not join Marine. But I have to say it. Sengoku still appreciates Lin Yan's abilities in all aspects. And just when Sengoku was looking at Lin Yan with admiration, at this moment, Lin Yan also looked towards Sengoku. Eyes facing each other. Then Lin Yan grinned. Seeing Lin Yan suddenly laugh, Sengoku narrowed his eyes. The new division captain of this white regiment. He actually smiled at himself. In the center of the battlefield, Lin Yan stretched his body. The smiling green bull Zephyr has already taken action. No matter what, I can't be left behind. He looked towards Ace, the main task of the white group. It is to rescue Ace on the execution platform. That being the case, set a small goal and bring Ace back. At this time, Lin Yan also saw 3 warships docking in the distance. A full 20,000 prisoners on the warship fell off one after another. This group of prisoners is led by Lin Yan, with Buggy, Jinbei, and Crocodile as their deputies. Buggy ran to Lin Yan's side and asked, "Boss, all our people are here." "We're all here, let's start," Lin Yan ordered them. The prisoners hate Marine. Far beyond Lin Yan's imagination. Especially after being imprisoned by Marine for so many years. After the birth. Especially seeing Marine on the battlefield at Marineford. Enemies are extremely jealous when they meet. Suddenly, the prisoners grabbed their weapons and attacked Marine. Joined by prisoners, the pressure on the Whitebeard pirates has been greatly relieved. At the same time, in the confrontation of military forces, the originally huge gap in military strength between the two sides has also shortened the distance at a speed visible to the naked eye. Bah! Isn't this Lao Sha, who was all-powerful in the Desert Kingdom, but was finally imprisoned in the underwater prison? Doflamingo walked up to Crocodile and said with a wicked smile on his face. Doflamingo. Crocodile had a cigar in his mouth, smoke lingering in his mouth, and his eyes were indifferent. "You didn't listen when I told you to join forces with me. Now you must have tasted the bitter pill. It's rare to see you now on Marineford. How about it? I still have the same conditions as before. As long as you join, everything will remain the same." Although Doflamingo was inviting, the ridicule on his face did not diminish at all. Crocodile now. But it doesn't have the same energy as before. Stab it. However, Doflamingo just finished speaking. A blade of sand suddenly splashed out from the ground. The sand blade penetrated the Doflamingo in front of him, and Doflamingo was cut off in half. "After all these years, you are still as noisy as ever." Crocodile took a puff of smoke and said, "The other side." Although it was cut in half, for a person who owns string fruit, Crocodile's sandblade did not cause much damage to Doflamingo. But Doflamingo's body, which had been chopped in half, was restored. There was still that mocking look on his face. "Ba ba ba, Lao Sha, do you really want to fight?" Crocodile glanced at him. "Then let me see if your strength has improved at all over the years." When Crocodile faced off against Doflamingo, Jinbei in the distance also approached Gecko Moria, who is also a 7 warlords of the sea. At the same time, there are many prisoners who are already strong and have high rewards. We even found some Marine Vice Admirals. When the Marine Vice Admirals faced these prisoners, it's not easy either. Firstly, the rewards they offered were not low, and secondly, they were all people who were good at recruiting and fighting. In a short confrontation, even the Vice Admiral couldn't do anything about this group of vicious prisoners in a short time. The one who was least afraid of death, none more so than this group of supernovae. Led by Kid and Yu Rouge, they challenged the bears who were the 7 warlords of the sea without saying a word. Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers. They also want to try to find out how much Shichibukai weighs. Luffy, on the other hand, held on to Buggy, and the two of them went to PK the world's best swordsman, Hawkeye. War situation. On the verge of breaking out. Let's talk about Lin Yan. After setting a small goal for yourself, he looked towards the execution platform, along the way. But it's not easy. The first hurdle is all the Marine executives along the way. The second obstacle is the 3 admirals directly under the execution platform, but currently the 3 admirals have been restrained. The third obstacle is Garp the Fist, a legendary Marine hero. Once the execution platform is in danger, he must not sit idly by. And behind these 3 difficulties, there is the last Marine Marshal personally sitting in charge. These difficulties are before us, not to mention Whitebeard. Even rocks might not be able to get past it. This is why. In the original novel, Whitebeard Yang stated the reason why the whole team supported Luffy in attacking the execution platform. Nothing else. The only way is to let Luffy come in person. There is only a glimmer of hope, but the situation today is different. 3 admirals meet their match. Countless vice admirals were restrained by prisoners. The road leading to the execution platform, it can be said to be unprecedentedly smooth. It's too late, it's fast. Lin Yan dodged. He disappeared from the spot and turned into an electric light. He quickly ran towards the execution platform. See Lin Yan taking action. No, stop him quickly. The surrounding Marine 6 Styles experts came forward to stop him. Suddenly, Moonwalk, Tempest Kick, etc. were all used, and all the abilities seemed to be thrown at Lin Yan for free. Faced with hundreds of Marines blocking the way. Stab, 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 Thunderfruit released. Lin Yan emitted forked lightning, which split into 2 and 4, implicating all the Marines in front of him. The Marine soldiers couldn't resist at all, for a moment. All the people were burned black. They fell to the ground one after another. After taking care of these Marine soldiers, Lin Yan's speed did not slow down at all. Traveling through the thunderous sky, it took less than a moment before and after. Lin Yan has arrived directly below the execution platform. He pointed 1 foot toward the ground. Whoosh! There was a sonic boom in the air, and a big hole was made in the ground under Lin Yan's feet. And his whole person was like an arrow leaving the string. He rushed towards the top of the execution platform. Because his speed is too fast and his power is too fierce. The Marine at the scene was no match for him. And more importantly, the execution platform is only 1 step away from Lin Yan. The newly promoted captain of the Whitebeard Pirates is about to land on the execution platform. Damn it, no one can stop him. The 3 admirals are all restrained. We must not let him get close to Ace. After the Marines saw the movement on the execution platform, they clenched their fists and their hearts were in their throats. Come on, squad leader, Team Lin, rescue Ace. You are the hope for all of us. The crew members of the Whitebeard Pirates also shouted loudly. And at this moment, seeing the moment when Lin Yan was about to arrive at the execution platform, a figure of majestic stature, he quickly stood in front of Lin Yan. Although Ace is my grandson, but I am also a member of Marine. Finally, the long-suffering legendary Marine hero, Garp the Fist, takes action. He stood directly in front of Lin Yan. Looking at Lin Yan, whose speed was almost unstoppable, his eyes flashed red, and Lin Yan's trajectory was clearly revealed in his eyes. Garp raised his fist and struck it accurately in the direction of Lin Yan, Bone Fist. As early as the moment Garp appeared, Lin Yan naturally saw the other party. Haven't had time to say anything more. Garp's fists flashed with sharp edges. With the posture of a legendary Marine hero, Garp punched Lin Yan hard. Boom. Lin Yan and Garp collided, all of a sudden. There were bursts of sonic booms, and among the electric light and flint, countless scarlet lightnings fell from the sky. The ground was full of pits, and the sky was full of mist, and the haze was heavy and swept in all directions. In that smoke and dust, Lin Yan retreated first. He rolled over and planted his legs on the ground, creating a long trench. Lin Yan's brows frowned slightly, and he looked at his palm. Just now, Garp's bone fist hit his palm, fist to palm. The two of them exchanged moves. Even though Lin Yan armament hockey was covering it, he was still forced to retreat. Garp's bone fist. It's not that easy to bear, after all, he is the king of the old era. The only true god of Marine who joined forces with Roger to defeat Rox. With Garp joining the battle, it's not that easy to rescue Ace. Same. Garp also fell to the ground. He clapped his hands and made a dull sound. You can actually block my bone fist. Should I say it or not, you still have some strength. But, you guys from the Whitebeard Pirates want to rescue Ace, so you have to get through me first today. I heard before that the Whitebeard Pirates formed a new division. To be honest, at that time, Garp still looked down on these captains. It seems now, but I underestimated the other party. Experts will know if there is one as soon as they take action. The new captain of the Whitebeard Pirates is in front of me. It's really not simple. Listen to what the other person says. Lin Yan also lowered his head and smiled and said, Vice Admiral Garp's strength is astonishing. I am lucky to be able to compete with you, but before that, can I make a small request? Garp paused. What's the request? Lin Yan smiled knowingly. It's not so much a request as it is an opportunity to talk nonsense. The king of strong mouth has appeared, actually. Garp is not hard-hearted, on the contrary. In terms of sensibility and kindness, Garp goes further than anyone else. It is precisely because of this that Garp's popularity has remained high throughout the decades-long pirate arc. Although Ace and he are not related by blood, this does not hinder the bond between their grandfather and grandson. In addition, Garp himself is a rational person. To be honest, just take the right medicine. Learn with reason and move with emotion. Lin Yan has countless ways to make Garp submit and make way for him. The premise is, you need the other party to listen. Zoidan. It is clear. Garp didn't understand what Mudu was, and thought it was the opponent's trump card. So he said bluntly, okay, let me experience the power of your mouth escape. Are you hooked? Lin Yan did not expect it to be so easy. just when he was about to perform the legendary and shocking mouth escape. Enough. At this moment, as Marine's Marshal, Sengoku actually took action. He took the first step. He jumped off the execution platform with a leap of faith and landed firmly on the ground. Sengoku walked out from behind Garp and said with a sullen face, "Captain, I am not surprised by your appearance. What surprises me is that among your 17th squad, there are actually so many hidden heroes. Bye." Indeed. For them Marine. The strength shown by Yishao and Lu Niu was really eye-catching and amazing. Sengoku continued. What surprises me even more is that even our Marine's predecessor, Admiral Zephyr, has been roped in by you. You are really capable. Speaking of Zephyr. Especially when Zephyr joins the war on behalf of the Whitebeard pirates and openly becomes their enemy, Marine. Sengoku stared at Lin Yan with almost gritted teeth. He really couldn't think clearly. How Lin Yan did all this quietly within the Whitebeard pirates. If you step on the horse, you are cheating. At least give it a try. This is like a crook in someone else's casino who will deliberately lose twice at a critical moment, giving you a chance to regain your confidence and earn more money in the future. The newly promoted captain of the White Regiment in front of him is good. You don't even have to act. Is there any royal law? Are there any laws? You don't take us Marine seriously, do you? Of course. Lin Yan didn't know what Sengoku was thinking. After the other party finished speaking, Lin Yan showed a flattered look on his face and said, "It is really an honor for me to be so appreciated by Marshal Marine. I am overjoyed but also a little bit on pins and needles. You Marine will not be the same in the future. You're going to target me." Before Sengoku and Garp could react, Lin Yan continued, "But regarding the matter of Zephyr Admiral joining my team, it is not so much that I am capable, but rather that some forces are not short-sighted. Others have worked hard and dedicated their whole lives for them, and all they got in the end was your kick. To be honest, I feel a little sorry for Zephyr and feel sorry for him. Do you think this unnamed powerful force is a bit shameless?" Lin Yan's words. This directly angered Sengoku. What do you mean? Next to Sengoku, Garp said nothing. He just couldn't help but lowered his head and sighed. Too many things have happened recently. So much so that his whole person went through many vicissitudes of life. At the same time, Zephyr on the other side is fighting Aokiji. They also stopped their movements for a short period of time. He glanced at Lin Yan. In front of Marine, in front of the Whitebeard pirates, in front of the whole world, he stood up for himself. There is no room for sarcasm or connotation in the words. Zephyr also felt a warm current in his heart. Seeing Zephyr stop, Aokiji also stopped. Didn't Lin Yan's words pierce his heart? Team leader. In the distance, Ain bit his lip, tears streaming from his eyes. Ever since Zephyr was kicked out by Marine, they have also entered their darkest moment. People have rebelled against their relatives and separated from their relatives. Thousands of people have pointed the finger at them, and everything is devastated. The world seemed to dim and dull, and at the moment when they were about to enter darkness, Lin Yan appeared, and it opened a door for them. In the morning sun, lift them up from the bottom of despair. Think of this. Ain couldn't stop crying. Finally someone is willing to speak for them. This boy. Whitebeard was recuperating on the Moby Dick. After witnessing this scene, the corners of his mouth under his beard raised slightly. The whole person suddenly became enlightened. No wonder Zephyr is willing to join his squad. Play down this emotional card. Who can withstand it? Confronted by the taciturn Garp and Sengoku, who is secretly angry and about to erupt, Lin Yan immediately raised his hand. Hey, Marshal, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about you. I'm just expressing my feelings and expressing my feelings for my vice captain. Sorry if there is any offense. While talking, Lin Yan apologized directly to them, looking harmless. Sengoku's originally dark complexion turned even darker. He looked like he was begging for beating. He couldn't bear it any longer. Are you done? Honestly, I'm not done yet. Lin Yan shook his head and answered. You're right, we at Marine do have a lot of things we don't do well. Along the way, I did a lot of wrong things out of necessity, and I felt sorry for many innocent people. But compared to us, how can you group of pirates be any better? A nest of snakes and rats, all working together to harm the world. What qualifications do you have to talk about us? In today's summit war, we Marine must win, and we can only win. Garp, do you understand? Sengoku scolded with a steady voice. What he said, it was said to Lin Yan, also said to Garp. Garp, who remained silent on the side, gradually raised his head. From the moment the summit war started, a heavy burden weighed on him. He knows. I have to fight for Marine. Garp is Marine's vice admiral, Marine's hero, Marine's backbone, and Marineford's unshakable leader. At this thought, his eyes became more determined. Garp said, "I understand." Lin Yan shut up. He found. His mouth escaped, as if he had met his opponent. The purpose of connoting them Marine just now is to make Garp not want to serve Marine and not want him to take action against him. The results of it? Sengoku came up with an encouraging backhand. Garp swept away the decadence. His fighting spirit suddenly became high. This marshal is really not a fool, certainly. Lin Yan will not do nothing. He is also preparing to continue using mouth release to persuade Garp. But at this moment, Sengoku pointed at Lin Yan and forcibly interrupted the spellcasting. "Stop talking nonsense. If you want to fight, we will fight." For Marineford, for Marine's glory, with Sengoku's call, the scene suddenly became Horde and Alliance. At the same time, he grabbed the marshal's robe behind him and pulled it sharply, revealing the tight muscles under the robe. "With me here, you can't even take a step closer to the execution platform today." Upon seeing this, Garp also tore off his vice admiral robe. The two of them stood in front of Lin Yan like two mountains. The wind howled and the waves continued. The terrifying momentum ignited the entire Marineford. The scene became Golden Lion. Again Lin Yan's mouth escape spell was interrupted, especially when he saw the two of them like this. There was regret in his eyes. It seems, this war. It's inevitable. Lin Yan's aura also began to rise. The scene was like three bubbles standing up, colliding together and squeezing each other. At a time of tense situation at the scene, to say the most shocking. None more so than the Whitebeard pirates at Marineford. Captain Lin is going to fight Garp and Sengoku? What? Those are the two top combat powers of Marine. I admit that Team Lin is very strong, but after all, it is Garp and Sengoku. The two of them joined forces, and even the former Golden Lion fell into their hands. If nothing else, I'm afraid that even if our father plays in person, he will end up with the same fate as Golden Lion. Captain Lin. Can he handle it? If you can't bear it, you have to bear it. No one in our entire Whitebeard pirate group can help him. Seeing this scene, all the crew members of the Whitebeard pirates began to feel worried. Even though they were fighting Marine, they were a little distracted. Lin Yan sweated nervously. To actually try to challenge the Marshal and the Garp hero, you really don't know the heights of the world. Idiot's dream. Let me see how you die later. The Marines sneered. Everyone looked at Lin Yan as if they were looking at a clown. In their impression, Garp and Sengoku joined forces, and almost no pirate is their opponent. Bah. This squad leader is interesting. Aren't newborn calves afraid of tigers? Doflamingo glanced at Lin Yan and sneered. It's better to take care of yourself first. Crocodile held the sand blade in his hand and slashed at Doflamingo's head. Did Garp and Sengoku take action? As the world's best swordsman, Mihawk also noticed the situation on the battlefield. Luffy and Buggy in front of him were not his opponents at all, so he naturally did not need to take them seriously. This is one of the few situations where two Marine veterans can work together to deal with it. I'm really looking forward to it. The pirate Empress Boa Hancock has never been challenged so far. She has black hair and long legs. She took advantage of this free time and looked in the direction of Lin Yan. It's not just Marineford. People all over the world are witnessing the impending battle. Actually, if it is just to deal with a newly promoted captain, Sengoku doesn't need to show up at all. Garp alone is enough. But after seeing the strength of Yishao and Green Bull, Sengoku deeply realized that the newly promoted captain in front of him was far from being as simple as it seemed. What a joke. He was able to get two admiral-level warriors to join him and become a member of his command. If he doesn't have enough strength, this just doesn't make sense. So, instead of letting Garp struggle with it, Marine lost a top combat power for no reason. It would be better for him to join forces with Garp and take the lead in getting rid of the newly promoted captain of the White Group in front of him. The Whitebeard pirates have broken off Whitebeard's arm. The two of them joined forces to deal with Lin, the other arm. So, the balance of victory in this war, about to tilt towards their Marine. Bone Fist. When the aura was almost brewing, the first one to attack was the Marine hero Garp the Fist. He raised his fist as big as a sandbag. Garp disappeared with a whoosh. In an instant, he came to Lin Yan. He raised his huge fist and struck it with a sonic boom. The power brewing in it is endless. Armament hockey covered him instantly, and Lin Yan also greeted him with a punch. Boom. Fist-to-fist exchange. Garp's bone fist hit, and the ground beneath Lin Yan's feet exploded, forming a huge crater. After one blow, Garp retreated a full 10 steps. Lin Yan also took a few steps back before barely steadying his body. However, the figure under his feet has not yet stabilized. Golden light lit up behind Lin Yan. Sengoku didn't know when he came around behind Lin Yan, and devil fruit had already possessed him. His whole body is covered with golden light, and the Buddha's light is endless and dazzling. In the eyes of everyone in Marineford, Sengoku is like a high god. It is awe-inspiring, fascinating, sighing, and shocking in all directions. Raising the golden Buddha's light giant fist, Sengoku rushed towards Lin Yan again. Just after forcing Garp back, Sengoku added the next blow. As comrades who have been with each other for many years, the collaboration between Garp and Sengoku is perfect. Boom. In just the first round of the confrontation, Lin Yan was blown away. 2 long trenches were wiped out on the ground again. Lin Yan shook his painful arm. Even though Garp and Sengoku were older, this does not prevent them from being the backbone of Marine. In this case, a joint attack was launched. It caused a lot of trouble for Lin Yan. A peak powerhouse can drink a pot of it, not to mention 2 peak powerhouses. The most important thing is that the 2 of them have had a tacit understanding for many years in the early years. Together, their strength is far greater than 1 + 1. Before Lin Yan could breathe a sigh of relief again, Garp and Sengoku's attacks came as expected, with a hail of bullets in one wave after another, not giving him any chance to breathe. All of a sudden, because of the 2 people's cooperation, Lin Yan was also suppressed. There is simply no way to get rid of it in a short period of time. 50 rounds go by in a blink of an eye. Lin Yan scored twice and was forced out again. He even got a solid punch from Garp due to an accident while being surrounded by 2 people. Garp's fists are not easy to handle. The terrifying power above, and the explosive power that can break through everything. Blood suddenly overflowed from the corner of Lin Yan's mouth. He also looked extremely embarrassed. Witnessed Lin Yan being injured by Sengoku and Garp. Team Lin. Injured? The Whitebeard pirates were stunned at first. In their impression, Captain Lin's strength can sweep across the entire Whitebeard pirates, and more than a dozen division captains can't stand his presence. From beginning to end, they couldn't see any so-called injuries in this man's body. But soon, everyone came to their senses again. After all, it's Marshal Sengoku and Garp the Fist. Take a look at this sea. How many people can withstand the combined pressure of these 2 giant Buddhas? And the most important thing is, current situation. No one can help Team Lin at all. What to do? How can I do? They were anxious, like ants on a hot pot. Now, even Whitebeard changed from his previous calmness, and his expression gradually became cloudy and uncertain. Garp and Sengoku joined forces, not to mention the self who is now in the sunset. Even in its heyday, you still have to be cautious to avoid its sharp edges. Same. After seeing Lin Yan lose to Garp and Sengoku, the pride on the faces of the Marines was also highlighted. And their Marshal Sengoku clashed with Garp the Fist. I don't know where you got the courage. The people on Marine's side looked at Lin Yan with more and more contempt. Is it finally going to end? After Mihawk pushed Luffy Buggy back with a light knife, he looked in the direction of Lin Yan and said. It's nothing more than that. Gecko Moria sneered. Ha! It looks like he's dying. Doflamingo also commented. In front of Brother Ming, Crocodile remained silent. But while Bai Tuan was worried, Marine was scornful, and Shichibukai on the scene thought that this might be the end of the squad leader. Lin Yan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and looked toward Sengoku and Garp. At the same time, he sighed. They are indeed 2 Marine legends. Their strength is unique. I can feel the pressure of the Golden Lion back then. To be honest, Lin Yan really wanted to have a good fight with them using punches to the flesh. Unfortunately, the tingling sensation on my fists and the numbness in my body. He couldn't help but shake his head. Garp's iron fist is really not something that ordinary people can bear. If that's the case, then let's capture him without any hesitation. Garp raised his hand and pointed at Lin Yan. Let's just forget about it. At least, the outcome is still unknown. Lin Yan smiled slightly, the fighting spirit in his eyes rising steadily. The enemies are Sengoku and Garp, 2 top Marine figures. If you want to get past them, you must go all out today. Actually, he can open Mangekyo's couple space, which will have a high probability of taking Ace away. Of course. It's just that the probability is high. The top experts in Marine can't be ignored. At least as far as Garp and Sengoku are concerned. They won't sit back and watch, not to mention. But if you do this, wouldn't it be a lot less fun? It's a rare opportunity to experience the treatment of Golden Lion. Lin Yan will be willful no matter what he says today. Finished. His eyes flashed red, and Mangekyo Sharingan's signature Magatama appeared. At the same time, holding Kang Lei, Thunderfruit manifested itself in him. Observation Haki, armament haki opens to ultimate. Lin Yan at this moment. He has already used all his strength and entered the peak state. From traveling to the world of pirates to the present day. This is Lin Yan's first appearance in full strength. HMPH, if you don't want to be captured without mercy, then I will force you to submit. Sengoku stepped forward with a Buddha's light on his fist. Like a golden arhat, he struck Lin Yan again. Bring it on. Lin Yan did not give in at all. Pointing his toes on the ground, he dived towards Sengoku. The two of them started to collide like rockets. Sengoku's Buddha's light fist was directed towards Lin Yan's face. But the moment his fist was about to touch Lin Yan, Sengoku's expression changed slightly. His fist actually passed through Lin Yan's head. Elementalize? Sengoku's heart trembled, and he immediately noticed Lin Yan's ability. Able to hollow avoid his own punches. In addition to the elementalization of Logia fruit, what other tricks can you use? But the next second, Sengoku's pupils tightened. Impossible, absolutely impossible, to know. Armament haki has already covered his fist. Armament haki. That would be a dimensionality-reducing blow to the elementalized Logia devil fruit. Elementalized in front of armament haki, there is no way to escape. You can handle it however you want. Let him control you. But the problem is, as far as the current situation is concerned, the fist that opened armament haki passed through his body. See this scene. Sengoku was completely stunned. Why? Why is this happening? Isn't your ability the elemental form of Logia devil fruit? Wrong. This is completely unreasonable. If he wasn't elemental, how did he pass through his body? Sengoku looked horrified. In these seconds, he thought of dozens of possibilities. The final conclusion is, this is not scientific. Sengoku was shocked. This is the new captain of the Whitebeard Pirates. What ability is being used? Yes, it is Mangekyo Sharingan's ability that Lin Yan displays. Kamui. It is an extremely advanced space-time ninjutsu. The essence of its ability is to transfer oneself or other surrounding objects back and forth between real space and alien space. And Hollow is one of those abilities. Hollow and Logia elementalization are basically the same. However, it does not have the shortcomings of Logia elementalization. For example, fear of armament haki, fear of sea stone, etc. This is also the reason why Sengoku still passed through Lin Yan after he activated armament haki. Sengoku didn't have time to think too much. The moment his fist passed through, Lin Yan's body suddenly materialized. Raise your hand. He grabbed Sengoku's neck, who was close at hand. Boom. The moment Lin Yan grabbed Sengoku's neck, Akainu, Aokiji, and Kizaru all looked sideways when they saw this incredible scene. Everyone's pupils are constricting. Impossible. Even Garp immediately cried out. Sengoku was actually choked. Same. The Marine Vice Admiral, Shichibukai, and squad leaders on the other side were also shocked by this scene. To know. Previously, they thought that Lin Yan would be defeated under the combined attack of the two men. The result is the next second. A shocking scene happened. As Marine Marshal, possessing Marine's top combat power, and Marine's Supreme Commander, Buddha Sengoku was actually being held around the neck by Lin Yan at this moment. This scene. Unexpectedly Boruto eyeballs. It was true that everyone present was shocked. After seeing this scene, even Whitebeard ignored his injuries and stood up from where he was in shock. What? Sengoku's eyes were as wide as bells, and he wanted to struggle. But there was no time for Sengoku to react. Lin Yan's other hand. The power of Thunder Fruit has already reached ultimate. Billion-volt Azure Dragon. The thunder and lightning in the sky gathered in Lin Yan's hands, and Lin Yan slapped Sengoku's body with a palm. In an instant, the bright white light shines to its limit. There were bursts of white light, lightning and thunder, and the high temperature instantly ignited the whole place. It was as if everything in the world was melting away. Boom. Countless thunder and lightning fell on Sengoku. Sengoku was like Uchiha Madara, who was kicked by Might Guy with 8 inner gates fully opened, and a large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. Sengoku exploded and flew away. After rubbing his whole body hard on the ground, he hit the wall of Marineford. The huge city wall was directly knocked down by him, and boulders fell from the sky, pressing on Sengoku. The smoke filled the air, and a cloud of smoke and dust was emitted. Watching Sengoku being seriously injured by Lin Yan's blow. The violent movement shocked everyone. With this sound, this moment, all of Marineford fell silent. After seeing this scene, Marine and the Whitebeard Pirates couldn't help but stop fighting again in a short time. Just like Shichibukai and the Vice Admirals thought. They had this before, especially seeing Lin Yan besieged by Garp Sengoku. I thought the new captain of the Whitebeard pirates had died. Who would have expected the next second? Their Lord Marshal. He was actually seriously injured by him. The Marine soldiers opened their eyes to their maximum, and their hearts were filled with turmoil. That is their Marine Marshal, the supreme commander of the entire Marine. There was a Marine legendary hero Garp the Fist next to him, and then he was blown away like this? The Whitebeard pirates' new captain naturally knows his capabilities, and they also know that he has the ability to compete with Sengoku, Garp and their Marine admiral. But what is happening now? That was Garp and Sengoku joining forces. 2 generals are greater than 4 emperors. Almost everyone on the sea knows it. Golden Lion was a typical case back then. Golden Lion. The 3 legendary pirates, the captains of the Sky Pirates, stand at the top of the New World, unrivaled by anyone. Even Roger, even Whitebeard. Even in front of the peak flying pirates, they had to give in 3 points. Such a powerful Golden Lion was pinned down by their Marshal and Garp. This also leads to, I saw the 2 of them teaming up to encircle and suppress Lin Yan. Almost no one thought he would survive. Many Marines even sneered and thought of collecting his body. The results of it. Forrest, the captain of the Whitebeard pirates. Under the siege of Garp and Sengoku, not only did he not lose heart, but he went upstream and pushed Sengoku sideways in one fell swoop. Watch as Sengoku is forced back. Not to mention how shocked the Marines were. A pair of shocked eyes were all cast in the direction of Lin Yan. Same. Among Whitebeard, when I saw Lin Yan was so awesome. They suddenly exclaimed, and each of them was filled with excitement. Team Lin. Those were Garp and Sengoku. He actually took the lead in knocking one of them out with their joint efforts. Can someone give me a slap and let me know if I'm dreaming? Same as Marine thought. That was the collaboration between Sengoku and Garp. Even if Dad were to play in person, the final outcome might not be difficult to guess. But when we arrived at Lin Yan's place, turned defense into offense. This action by Sengoku and Garp not only failed to solve Lin Yan. Instead, he was brutally suppressed. After everyone in the Whitebeard pirates took a deep breath, they felt even more excited. Aboard Moby Dick. Unlike the other excited white crew members, Whitebeard groaned and touched his chin. The scene just now flashed in his mind. Forrest. What ability was used just now? Just because others didn't see it clearly doesn't mean Whitebeard didn't see it clearly. Armament Hockey's fist passed through Lin Yan's body. This is obviously not the elementalization of Logia Devil Fruit. This kid. Obviously there are still many trump cards that have not been revealed. The appreciation in Whitebeard's eyes was clearly revealed. The other side. The Shichibukai, Vice Admiral, and countless Rear Admiral Commodores throughout Marineford were also shocked by the scene of Sengoku's defeat. Now, Marineford's footage is also being transmitted around the world by phone bugs. People all over the world witnessed this incredible scene with their own eyes. The civilians were fine. Some pirates started to get ready to take action. I remember that Division 17 had just been established. I don't care, after the Summit War, I want to join the 17th Division. Some pirates' eyes glowed, and Lin Yan's back became longer and longer in their gazes. Such strong strength. Such a powerful ability. With the joint efforts of Garp and Sengoku, they broke out of the encirclement and rebelled against the general. Many people thought that Lin Yan might have just touched the threshold of Admiral. Are you telling me this is the threshold for Admiral? This has already reached the level of the Emperor of the Sea. The Whitebeard pirates. A second Sea Emperor was actually born. There are actually 2 Sea Emperors in one pirate group. Oh my god. Don't be the only one to join, I want to join too. Captain Lin, you will be my idol from tonight on. I must join the 17th Division. Team 17, Whitebeard Pirates, here I come. Realizing Lin Yan's strength, a small goal has been formed in his heart. I'm determined to join the 17th Division, and Jesus can't stop me. This battle. Lin Yan became famous by fighting Sengoku on Garp in front of the whole world. Among the ruins, Sengoku pushed aside the large rocks that were weighing on him. Climbed out of it with difficulty. At this moment, he no longer looked as high-spirited as he had just pointed out. Pain in the abdomen, numbness all over the body. It made it almost difficult for him to move. You are in such a mess, Sengoku. Garp walked up to Sengoku, looked at him calmly and said. As an old friend for many years, he didn't believe that Sengoku would fall like this. Stop talking sarcastically, did you see what happened just now? Sengoku said angrily. Well, I saw it. His Logia elementalization somewhat surprised me. Not only Whitebeard noticed this, but Garp also noticed this. He squinted his eyes, and there was a faint light in his eyes. What do you think? Sengoku continued to ask. It seems that we must use all our strength to treat this person in front of us as seriously as we treated Golden Lion back then. Garp rubbed his fist, and there was a crackling sound inside. Notice. Before that, Sengoku is the main attacker, and he is responsible for raiding the formation on the side. The reason why Garp is willing to rob the formation is very simple. The enemy is just a captain of the Whitebeard pirates. Even Sengoku wants to deal with each other quickly. But in Garp's view, treat Lin Yan, who is almost their grandson. Not only must we fight 2 against 1, but we must go all out. This makes Garp a little bit embarrassed to say that he doesn't want to do it. But now, after seeing the unheard and unseen strength in Lin Yan, Garp realized, if the 2 of them don't use all their strength, I'm afraid I still can't chew this hard nut in front of me today. And Garp also has an intuition. The young man in front of me is far from being as simple as he seems on the surface. After realizing that if Lin Yan stayed here for a while longer, he would be an additional threat to their marine, Garp took a step forward and shouted to Lin Yan. Lin, you are young and very strong. But next, are you ready to deal with me with your full strength? Garp, the legendary hero of the Marine Corps, chases Roger all over the world with a pair of iron fists. All pirates who know his name are afraid of him. Who are the people on the same level as him? Golden Lion, Whitebeard, Roger, Big Mom, and even Rox, the king of the world back then. Such a person with full firepower can completely turn the entire battlefield around. Facing the imposing Garp, Lin Yan's focus is not here. Full strength? Listen to Garp. Lin Yan suddenly thought of a certain classic scene. So, Vice Admiral Garp. Lin Yan smiled slightly and faced Garp and said, have you seen me in my heyday? Garp lowered his head and said in a rich voice, I haven't seen it before, so let me see it next. Then come on. Mangekyo Sharingan burst into scarlet light in Lin Yan's eyes, and the void began to distort around him. Sengoku doesn't have many years with Garp. They had already formed a tacit understanding and launched an attack again. This time it's no different than the previous part where things were watered down. Sengoku exploded with all his strength. Garp also showed his full strength. Sengoku's devil fruit was open to ultimate, and he was covered in Buddha's light. Garp also uses the sight color, weapon color, and even Conqueror's Haki. Conqueror's entanglement. For a moment, Garp was like the god of war descending, his whole body emitting a red light so intense that it reached the ultimate level. A battle between the two sides, on the verge of breaking out. They collided. Just the aftermath affected the entire Marineford battlefield on the spot. In the center of that battlefield, I saw 3 figures running at the fastest speed. Every time the 3 figures collide, the air is like thunder beating drums. The deafening sound was heard in all directions. Every firefight, a big hole was formed on the ground. Marineford's ice, walls, nothing could withstand their crushing power. Even some of the Marines and pirates at the front were unfortunately swept away by the aftermath. He was thrown away on the spot and seriously injured. But the 3 people in the center of the battlefield couldn't care less. In their eyes, just each other. Especially Garp, when his firepower was fully activated, he risked his own life and even used the strategy of exchanging injuries for injuries. Desperately trying to defeat Lin Yan. Although Lin Yan could barely cope with it, relying on his own abilities and Hollow. But Hollow will eventually be seen through. As expected, during a long confrontation, Sengoku was the first to discover Lin Yan Hollow's flaw. Although your devil fruit elementalization is a bit special, the moment you take the initiative to attack, Hollow will eventually return to the entity. This is the flaw of your elementalization. Sengoku pointed at Lin Yan and said with great sensitivity, I see. When Garp heard this, he immediately understood the meaning of Sengoku's words. Know the flaws, know the disadvantages of Hollow. The 2 attacked more rapidly. Soon, Garp and Sengoku worked together to suppress Lin Yan. Watching Martial Sengoku and Hero Garp once again suppress Lin Yan, the Marines were excited again. They also figured it out. The reason why this new captain of the Whitebeard Pirates was able to surprise everyone in the Summit War was to overthrow their Marine Marshal Buddha Sengoku in one fell swoop. Bottom line. The Marshal and the others were not very familiar with Lin's strength. That led to their defeat in the first battle. It's just opportunistic, now after becoming familiar with the enemy's strength and capabilities. This squad leader is stunning no matter what. Under the alliance of Garp and Sengoku, even if you are a dragon, you have to lie down for me. This squad leader is indeed very strong. I take back what I said before about underestimating him. However, with the combination of Garp and Sengoku, he will inevitably be defeated in the end. Go to hell. The new captain of the Whitebeard Pirates is still very young. If we can kill him in the Vice Admiral of Summit War, our Marines will be less of a threat in the future. Master Marshal, kill this guy who doesn't know the heights of heaven and earth. With the support of Sengoku and Garp, the Marines regained their confidence and began to shout. The look in Lin Yan's eyes became mocking and sarcastic. I even wish that the obstacle in front of me would die on the spot. At the same time, after working together to suppress Lin Yan and force him to retreat, Sengoku shouted to Lin Yan, if you can let me and Garp take action together, you will be worthy of your current strength and status. But you are a pirate after all, and we will never allow you to get even half a step closer to the execution platform. Garp also said closely from the side, Lin, if this weird devil fruit elementalization is your last trump card, then I advise you. Let's just go ahead and capture him, so as not to get trapped in a cocoon. Just surrender? Trapped in a cocoon. Lin Yan fell from the sky and landed firmly on the ground. My own Kamui hollow was seen through by them. This is a reasonable thing. But, listening to the ridicule of the Marines around, especially when they said hollow was their last trump card, Lin Yan disagreed. The final trump card? He immediately laughed. Who said, this is my last trump card? Lin Yan asked rhetorically. Oh? Do you have other abilities? Sengoku's eyes became sharp and he kept looking at Lin Yan. Lin Yan ignored his scrutinizing gaze and said calmly. They are indeed two men who bear the title of Marine Legend. Even if they are old, the strength they can unleash together is enough to sweep across the sea. In this case, if I don't respond, wouldn't it mean that your plan today will fall short? Finished. Lin Yan opened his eyes suddenly. The Magatama continued to rotate in his pupils, and the scarlet light of Mangekyo Sharingan shone to the ultimate. He clapped his hands and uttered the last three words. Dance. The moment I shout out, let's dance. Around Lin Yan, cyan light burst out. A mysterious force is being recast inside. Do whatever you want. Sengoku saw this scene and he snorted coldly. With his huge fist, he hit Lin Yan directly. I'll also intervene. Bone Fist. Garp also jumped into the air, and the power of the Bone Fist exploded to ultimate. Two people, one on the left and one on the right. Attack Lin Yan from two directions, however. At this moment, the cyan light on Lin Yan's body has been recast long ago, and layers of skeletons have begun to cover his body. Yes. The ultimate power within Mangekyo Sharingan. Susanoo was taken out by him. Boom. Only two loud noises were heard. Garp and Sengoku's fists hit Susanoo hard, however. Even though the two of them broke out with considerable strength. But when they hit Susanoo's body, but it can't shake this transparent skeleton at all. What? Garp's eyes showed surprise. Seeing that his fists were unable to shake the skeleton in front of him, he even suffered a hidden loss due to the reaction force. He also had a look of shock on his face. I was secretly surprised. What a strong defense. The same goes for Sengoku. It's just that his fists didn't break the defense. Why didn't Garp's bone fist break the defense? Looking at Lin Yan, who was surrounded by cyan power in the transparent skeleton. While Sengoku's eyes showed surprise, he was also extremely confused in his heart. Is this Lin Yan's trump card? What ability is this? Besides, doesn't Lin Yan's devil fruit control thunder and lightning? The skeleton in front of you obviously has nothing to do with thunder and lightning. Since he has nothing to do with thunder and lightning, how does he display so many weird abilities? Whitebeard is strong enough, but he can only use the power related to shock fruit to survive. What about Lin Yan? There's thunder and lightning again, there's hollow again, and now there's this skeleton of azure light. Why? Why is the ability of the white squad leader in front of me so unique? Suddenly, Sengoku's pupils suddenly tightened. He thought of a possibility. Forest. Could it be that he is a person with double fruit abilities? No way. A person with double fruit abilities? Users with dual fruit abilities have always been legendary existences on the sea. It is so rare that no one has ever been born. Although it sounds horrifying, in the final analysis, only this explanation can solve the many mysteries surrounding Lin Ta. At the same time, the Marines at the scene were shocked when they saw Susanoo burst out from Lin Yan. They all also exclaimed, Bone, Skeleton Giant? Giant Mountain Superpower. Be good. What ability is this? When the Marine soldiers who had just gained confidence saw all this, their hearts were once again filled with turmoil. Is this the squad leader's second trump card? Except Marine. The Whitebeard pirates also looked at each other in amazement. Captain Lin. How many secrets does he have? Not to mention that Marine didn't know Lin Yan's ability, as the crew members got along day and night. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirates was also confused. When Lin Yan landed on the Moby Dick and single-handedly swept through their entire Whitebeard pirate group. It seems that this ability has never been used before. I knew this guy was hiding his strength. Izang slapped his head, then regretted. Feeling the aura brought by Lin Yan and Susanoo, the whole Marineford seemed to be crushed by him. This unimaginable strength, this unique ability. How many things have you hidden at the bottom of the box? The other squad leaders were also dumbfounded. They suddenly felt lucky. When he challenged Lin Yan didn't show this power. If this is taken out, are they playing with their heads? Play with your balls. Whitebeard also rubbed his chin. I was fascinated by the strength bursting out from Lin Yan. Except for Zephyr, Yishao, Lu Niu and others who have seen Lin Yan's methods before. Akainu, Aokiji, Kizaru and other marine admirals couldn't help but look at him with suspicion. This moment. All of Marineford. From Marine Vice Admiral to Shichibukai, from Shichibukai to Admiral. Almost everyone was shocked by the strength shown by Lin Yan. It's not over yet. The last time Lin Yan used Susanoo against the Green Bull, he only used Susanoo in the primary stage. Lin Yan's power was activated again with his hands clasped together. But I saw it on his cyan skeleton. Layers of power are constantly covering it. The brilliance is shining and shocking. The Mangekyo lines in Lin Yan's pupils are changing rapidly. In an instant, the majestic power merged into it. Susanoo is complete and advanced. A giant nearly 100 meters tall stands in Marineford. His legs stepped on the ice, and cracks appeared on the ice. Then, Lin Yan raised the corners of his mouth slightly and waved with one hand. In hand, Thunderfruit is released again. Thor. Lin Yan shouted loudly, and unparalleled thunder and lightning burst out. Layers of lightning surrounded Susanoo's body and spread like silver snakes. Then a thunder armor was formed. Thunder and lightning passed out. The shining light was so blinding that people could not open their eyes, and there were bursts of roaring. Immediately afterwards, completed Susanoo clasped his hands together, just like Kizaru drawing out the Amanshugoun sword. In the hand of the perfect Susanoo, a thunderblade with a length of 40 or 50 meters was drawn out. Susanoo Raijin. No, 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 this is the thunder god Susa. Driving Susanoo and controlling Thor. Lin Yan showed off his strongest ability ever. It was majestic, and his ears were filled with thunder and lightning. Now, the pressure is on Sengoku and Garp's side. Facing the perfect Susanoo, the clothes of the two of them made a squeaking sound. Her short hair was also blown out of shape. Sengoku looked ugly. He could sense the terrifying power contained in Susanoo. Garp is no longer as calm as before, his fists clenched tighter and tighter. At that moment, the two of them were ready. Completed Susanoo drew out the Thunderblade. He moved. Even if the body gets bigger, but the speed has not decreased at all. Holding a 40-meter-long sword in hand, Lin Yan controlled the Susanoo and slashed at Garp and Sengoku. So fast. Jaw-dropping. Sengoku and Garp didn't dare to make too big a deal. Quickly Conqueror's Haki, Devil Fruit is fully activated. Fight the oncoming perfect Susanoo with all your strength. Boom. Sengoku and Garp worked together to meet Susanoo's slashing attack. However, even the two are on fire. At the moment when it just collided with the Thunderblade. Not only is Susanoo's terrifying attack power, but it also contains Thunderfruit's majestic thunder enchantment. Both approaches work together. Sengoku and Garp were immediately sent flying by Lin Yan's slash. This is not over yet. However, Susanoo's other one was injured, and the second Thunderblade also spread out. Holding two Thunderblades, one to the left and one to the right, they were thrown towards Garp and Sengoku. Get out of the way. Sengoku and Garp also saw the two Thunderblades heading straight in. They twisted their bodies in the air, trying to avoid it. But, late. Lin Yan's Mangekyo once again releases scarlet light. He squeezed with one hand. Kamui. But at that moment, the two Thunderblades shot out were close to Sengoku and Garp. The Thunderblade actually twisted. This is the effect of Kamui's blessing on it. Boom. The void exploded on the spot, destroying everything. The explosion of this Thunderblade spread too fast. Especially with Kamui's blessing. Don't give them any chance to escape at all. Sengoku and Garp bring disaster to Chiyu, he was smashed on the spot. Their chests exploded under the influence of Kamui, even with the 6-style iron body. But it didn't have much effect at all, to know. Once Kamui is hit, even Kagayaheim has a broken arm. The two of them are simply the strongest men in the world of pirates, and they are so sharp with the blessing of Haki, who is knowledgeable and sexy. In the most critical second, they stepped off the Marine 6 style's moonwalk a bit. This prevented Kamui from tearing his body apart and killing him on the spot. Avoided. Lin Yan watched the two of them avoid his Thunderblade and Kamui, with a slight regret on his face. But this move was dodged. What about the next move? Susanoo drew a circle in the air, followed closely behind him. A total of 24 Thunderblades appeared. Hovering behind him, Susanoo pointed at Garp and Sengoku with one hand. 24 Thunderblades rushed to stab him. And at the moment of stabbing it, Kamui. The Kamui in my hand activates again. Around Garp and Sengoku, the void is constantly twisting, light waves are spreading, and twisted power is exerted on their left and right. How could Garp and Sengoku withstand Lin Yan's indiscriminate use of Kamui? Even if their observation haki is turned on to ultimate. Coupled with Marine 6 styles shaving and Moonwalk's continuous casting. Dodging back and forth among Kamui. But Lin Yan can release Kamui without any blind spots. The two of them avoided each other for a long time, but finally came into contact. Only slightly affected. They were almost sucked in. Kamui's burst of power made the two of them hit the ground heavily like kites with broken strings. The flesh and blood were blurred and the blood flowed endlessly. At last, Lin Yan added 2 more slashes and struck forward. The slash hit Garp and Sengoku, on their body surface. The bloody scars were directly cut by the Thunderblade. The marshal was exhausted and could no longer fight back. He lay on the ground, breathing heavily, although Garp still has some strength left. He still wants to fight again, but next. A word from Lin Yan, but it made him freeze. Vice Admiral Garp, that's almost it. Do you really want to stop me from rescuing Ace and letting Ace die on the execution platform, in front of you? Listen to Lin Yan's words. Garp suddenly fell into silence. Although he is fighting for Marine, he is the backbone of Marine. But if he really let Ace die in front of him, he couldn't bear it. Garp. Sengoku was covered in blood. After hearing Lin Yan's words, he immediately understood what Lin Yan wanted to do, and he quickly shouted towards Garp. But he just shouted out. Lin Yan's Thunderblade penetrated directly into his body. Severe pain. Let the cold sweat drip down Sengoku's forehead. Shut up. If your child is on the execution platform, I won't believe that you won't have any trouble at all. Lin Yan said towards Sengoku. Sengoku's pupils shrank. Lin Yan's words suddenly reminded him of Rosinante. Then. The situation between myself and Garp is so similar. What does Sengoku want to say? Finally shut up. I am a member of Marine after all. Garp thought for a long time, and finally said these words helplessly. As a Marine, you've done your best, haven't you? Lin Yan looked at Garp, who was a little loose. He added to the fire. Let me take Ace away. Take Ace away. This war will end. We, the Whitebeard pirates, will never make things difficult for you. Many years later, I believe you will be happy with the decision you made today. Vice Admiral Garp, this is your only chance. Lin Yan spoke with sincerity. Garp raised his head and met Lin Yan's eyes. As Ace's grandfather, Garp naturally didn't want Ace to die in front of him. Only Marine on one side and Ace on the other. It's hard for him to choose. If Marine was to be defeated, he couldn't do it. But if he really let Ace die in front of his eyes today, he wouldn't be able to do it. And just when he hesitated, Lin Yan smiled. Vice Admiral Garp, since you can't choose, then I will help you. The words fell. A Thunderblade. It inserted into Garp's abdomen with a puff sound. Garp's eyes widened, looking at the Thunderblade on his abdomen. Subsequently, he seemed to understand something. There was a flash of calmness and relief in his eyes. Then he fell safely to the ground. Along with this, Garp and Sengoku were each penetrated by Lin Yan's Thunderblade. The peak combat power of the two Marines completely withdrew from the summit war stage. On the road from Lin Yan to Ace, no more obstacles. The complete Susanoo flew towards the execution platform. Boom. Susan descended next to Ace, holding a Thunderblade. The sword came out with a slash. The seastone chain on Ace was cut off directly. The second sword struck out. The entire execution platform was directly destroyed. Lin Yan reached forward, grabbed Ace's seastone handcuffs, and pulled him into her Susanoo. First meeting, second captain. Lin Yan waved and shouted to Ace.